What's up, man? How are you?
Good, man.
Thanks for doing this.
Thank you for having me, honestly.
I was so impressed with your performance from that past UFC that I had to talk to you. I was like, I've seen guys make, like, you were always a very dangerous striker obviously from the Gokhan Saki fight. Everybody got to see that. Mm-hmm. But to see how fluid you were against a beast like Eric Anders. I mean, Eric Anders is a scary cat.
Yeah.
He's coming for blood, right? And you were so fast, man. It was crazy to watch. It was really interesting.
Thank you.
Like, what if you had to give yourself a percentage leap that you've gone up over the last year, what do you think it would be?
Compared to, like,
who you were before that?
Not that high of a leap. I mean,
leap.
That performance for me was, like, I feel good about it, but that was only 4 months. So I'm like, I know that there's so much more for me to gain. That's why I'm like, yeah, I got to go back. So the leap, not too much, because I know there's still a lot more to go. A lot more, yeah.
Wow. So you've decided, so for people who don't understand what we're talking about, you went to Thailand. Mm-hmm. You spent 4 months down in Thailand. And you were fighting like a Thai boxer. It was crazy. Like Martel Agrate, who works in the production truck, he's the guy who picks out the instant replays. He and I talk back and forth sometimes while the fight's going on. Mm-hmm. And Mark, with his heavy Boston accent, like, dude, classic Thai. He's classic Thai stance. And he was just so light on that front leg, dude. Dude, that inside leg kick was so ferocious. It was fun to watch, man.
So it's just, usually wherever I go, I've always been good at just, like, kind of absorbing the culture. I'm a guy, like, I can go into a room full of people and I can just kind of pick up what the energy's like. And that's another reason why I wanted to go to Thailand. So just the way that they train and the discipline, the power, but the relaxation, like, everything I was learning, just like, man, there's so much more to Muay Thai. So I would just, even the days that I didn't train, I'd just sit around and just watch these guys, because Muay Thai is more than just punching, kicking, elbows, man. There's balance. You know what I mean? There's repetition. Like, how many kicks are you throwing? The guys at the stadiums, they're kick, 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 kick.
Yeah.
Like, so I was able to learn a lot, man, and there's still a lot to go.
It's beautiful to see someone on that pursuit. And I think it's much like Roger Mayweather said about boxing. Like, most people don't know shit about boxing. And when he said that, it's like, if anybody is going to say that, he's going to say that, because there are levels and layers, and there's paths to go down. And it's interesting when you see someone committed with a very specific style, like your adoption of that Muay Thai style. It's so effective. Has a striking style. It's really interesting when you think of all the different ways to attack with striking, that one way became very particularly successful.
You know what? Before I even started training MMA as a whole, my first martial arts class was a Muay Thai class. I knew that I wanted to train Muay Thai or learn Muay Thai. And so since I've started, I always thought, like, yeah, I want to go there, just maybe it's cool. But Muay Thai's always been my thing, but I had never really learned it, like, the actual way, from the root of where it comes from. Always just kind of, like, passed down, or like Brazilian style Muay Thai.
Right.
Like shoot the box type stuff. So that's completely different from stadium Muay Thai. And most people don't know shit about stadium Muay Thai, like, unless you go to Bangkok.
Let's characterize it for people. Would you say that Curitiba style is just way more aggressive, different way they utilize techniques?
Yeah, it's
not light on the front leg.
So
sometimes they are, like, more. Shogun would be light on his front leg a little bit.
One thing that they were doing a lot that's pretty similar is just, like, they go at it. Shoot the box, they'll go at it, and you just go until the other guy stops, pretty much. But from the shoot the box, that was, like, very combo based, like punches and kicks. So, like, 1, 2, like, you have to memorize these crazy combos. Cordero I think he's one of the guys that just, like, passed it down a lot. There's Diego Lima, guys like that. But they have this system, and it's very, like, combination based, memory, slipping, punch, kick, all this stuff. But the Thais are just, like, it's just straight kick, like, punch, you fall down on that front foot, elbow, knee. It's just it's broken down completely differently. It's just a whole different style. Yeah, it is. Like, so the shoot the box stuff has punches, kicks, knees, elbows, combinations, same tools that you're going to use in Muay Thai, but Muay Thai's got a whole different game plan. You know, clinching. Like, I've never trained as much clinching in America as I have in Thailand in just 4 months, and I've been fighting or training now for like 9 years. So just in 4 months, I've gotten more clinch time in Thailand than I have, you know, in my whole career. And that's because it's a whole different game. You got to master the clinch in Muay Thai. You have to, for effective, like real, true Muay Thai.
Are you getting a lot of wrestling over there?
Yeah. So that's one thing too. I heard Shab talking about it. Tiger has amazing, like, it's an amazing gym. 40 to 60 guys on the mat from everywhere. Chechnya.
Wow.
You know, everywhere, man. Those guys, they come there maybe for a week, maybe 2 weeks, maybe for a month, but you're getting constant good training, grappling, everything, MMA, boxing, CrossFit, everything you need is in one place. It blew my mind being there, honestly.
That's fascinating. And are you the coaches that you were working with before? Are you still working with them and Thailand? Or are you just gonna? I know you talked about actually moving to Thailand.
Yeah. The plan is to move there like as soon as possible.
Really?
Yeah. So I was like hitting you up like, Joe, I want to get on your show. I want to talk a little bit. But yeah, I want to. The plan is to move to Thailand like within the next couple weeks for at least a year, and I want to go there just because I can just train. The lifestyle is completely different. I can walk to the gym, hop on a motorbike. It's so simple. But to answer the question about my coaches, I always have my brother in my corner. He's just kind of like moral support. We started this together. I had a conditioning coach / friend / mental type of like support, Lorenzo Pavlica. And then my head coaches have switched probably 2 or 3 times in the last couple fights. I had Kenny Johnson from Black House, John Wood from Syndicate, and now I have George Hickman from Tiger Muay Thai. Yeah.
And so this change that you decided to make, did it come after the Johnny Walker fight?
Yeah. So the Johnny Walker fight, like, that camp was tough, man. Like, I was doing so much to try to improve in my wrestling and grappling because that was always like a big hole in my game. So I spent so much time wrestling over at Black House with Kevin Casey and this guy that I fought, Blake Troop. They're huge, and these guys are great grapplers. So
Kevin Casey's a powerhouse.
Yeah, he'll put you into the ground, and it feels like cement block on top of you. So
it's old school Hickson jiu-jitsu.
Exactly, that pressure, man.
Yeah.
So I would just grinding myself into the mat every day for that camp, expecting like, okay, I'm comfortable on the feet. If it goes to the ground, I'm ready. And I think I just completely lost sight of like my striking, my Muay Thai in that fight. His size, everything, I just kind of froze up, man. I was just like, I didn't know what to do, how to get there. So
well, it's all part of the education, right? I mean, this is what this career of fighting that you're on this path is what it's all about.
Yeah. And fighting for me is like big self-awareness too, you know?
I think it's always important, though, when a guy has a setback to see how he responds. Some people get discouraged. Some people get encouraged. Some people just decide like they're going to be much more committed, and that's what you did. Making that move to do your camp in Thailand and seeing how it paid off. I mean, Eric Anders is a very tough customer, and you essentially shut him out.
Yeah.
I mean, it was very, very impressive, man.
That was the plan, though, because I knew he was tough.
He's tough.
I've trained with him before. I sparred with him before that, everything. And, like, I've watched all of his fights. The guy's hard to put away.
We were making a case for the fight being stopped.
Yeah.
We were making a case. I mean, DC was saying, like, we could stop this fight. I was saying it. I was like, you were fucking his legs up.
I didn't even think about it during the fight. I wasn't like,
I'm sure you weren't. But that guy's so damn tough. He kept coming, man. Yeah. I mean, he never stopped trying to win that fight.
Yeah, there's no quit in him.
None.
I mean, even in the Santos fight, remember? Yeah. Like, it was just
do
going.
Or die.
They were
do or die.
Yeah. No, and then he tweets, he's like, I haven't been that tired since like my wedding night or something like that. He's always got good tweets after the fight. Shout out to Eric Anders.
I love what John Anik said too. He loves when he fights because then Bruce Buffer has to say, "Your boy."
Your boy.
Eric, your boy.
Hey, where does he keep his suits, man? He's got a new suit.
He's a bad motherfucker, dude. The insides of him always has like different decorations and shit. They commemorate different places where we're at. Bruce Buffer, he's got style.
I just imagine him have a level on his house just
Oh,
all
yeah, I'm
suits,
sure.
like a mall. You know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
go to a Nordstrom or something, but his is just all suits that he's worn before.
I mean, unless he donates them, he might donate them to charity. You know, that might be one of the, or auction them for charity or something like that.
That'd be good.
Yeah, he's a fun dude. He's the best ring announcer of all time too, man. When that guy starts wailing, you get so pumped up.
Seriously,
his fucking head gets red. he's so intense, man. Like if you watch boxing, they're much more smooth.
Yeah,
Bruce Buffer gets into it, man. He digs in.
I remember seeing him first yell at TJ Dillashaw, and he was like, "Oh!" Yeah. I was like, "Oh shit!"
He gives you goosebumps. He really does. He gives you goosebumps.
Yeah, you just feel his energy, right? You're just like, I'm there, ready for a fight. Like, I'm kind of nervous, and then Bruce comes over, like, out of the blue corner. You're like, oof.
I'm talking about a dude who blew his ACL out from jumping up in the air while he was reading someone's name.
Oh my god,
that's how intense he gets.
Bruce,
he blew his knee. Just fucked his knee up from just getting crazy.
Oh
yeah.
Man. Oh, Joe, really quick.
What do we got?
Okay, so remember I told you to turn your airdrop on during the show. So I didn't want to come here empty-handedly. So I haven't slept in probably 24 hours, more than 24 hours. But last night I was drawing, and I know you like art, so I was like, let me draw these illustrations for you. So I just want to send them to you.
Okay.
So turn your airdrop on.
It's on.
And as soon as it comes through, I'll send them. But yeah, I really just like, man, yeah, I just want to, if you want to keep them, use them for like wallpapers or post them up, whatever you want.
You made this?
Yeah, I did all these, man.
Dude, I look ridiculous.
Yeah, I did the little like.
I'll put it on Instagram later.
Cool, man.
It's very cute. What it looks like, man. I'm getting ugly as I get older. I see pictures of me when I was younger.
No, I saw this
so much
picture
prettier.
of you in the gym, and you had this like crazy face. I'll actually show you the actual one. It's really
I
good.
know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm
Instagram.
talking about? Yeah,
I was going crazy during this stupid fitness challenge I was having with my friends. We were working out, doing 6 hours of cardio a day, trying to beat each other, and so stupid. And that's when I was taking that picture.
That was a good one. I was like, yeah, let me copy that one.
So when you decide to move, are you taking anybody with you? You go solo?
I'm gonna start off going solo. I would like to get, my brother to come visit. I'd like to get my mom to come out.
Really, it's awesome out there.
Yeah, and just cheap and just kind of simple living. My mom, I don't think she's ever left the country, so I think it'd be really cool for her to go out there. But at the moment, I'm just really like, this place is great for my career right now, great for my training. So I just want to get there ASAP and get back to work.
Sorry, how do you account for jet lag? Like, do you just do you give yourself enough time to adjust to the time difference? You
know what? The whole time I was there, my sleep schedule was off. I never adjusted. So I was going to bed maybe 2:30 a.m. every morning, and then like get up, run at 5, and then
get tired later.
Tired later.
It's weird, right?
The schedule was all off, and then when I came back, it took me like a week or two to adjust. So
I was disappointed how stupid my body was.
Yeah.
Like, hey, dummy, go to bed now. I'm telling you, just go to bed now. I didn't know my body had such a rigid schedule. When you jack that thing sideways and you're on the other side of the planet, your body just really doesn't know what the fuck is going on.
Seriously. And then for me, being stuck in that plane for so long, man, it's like, ugh.
Yeah, you're too big for them little seats, too.
Yeah,
so
man.
When you do that, if you have a fight in Vegas, and you're going to go from Thailand to Vegas, do you show up 2 weeks early?
Yeah. Well, this is my first time flying back to the States after being in Thailand, and I flew a week early. No, I flew 2 weeks early. 1 week I stayed in Vegas, and then fight week stayed in Atlanta. And I think that was perfect timing.
Oh, that's good. So, you get a little difference in time between those
and
two.
Weather, too, man. It's so hot. Like, we train outside, and it's humid and hot. So, between every round, it feels like, like the third round of a fight. If we're going into the championship rounds, I've never been there, but I'd imagine that it'd feel very shitty. And that's how it feels every round in Thailand. It's just like you're covered in sweat, just hot, thick. Yeah, that was probably like my 5th round or something like that. And I was dead by this point. Shout out to the editor for making me not look as tired as I was.
Yeah, so what we're looking at, folks, for the people who are just listening, is a bunch of videos of you training, strength and conditioning, pummeling up against the wall. So you're getting everything down there.
Yeah, and that's Joseph Henley right there. He was on the Ultimate Fighter. I forgot what season they called him, Leonidas. He's a black belt out there, and he helped me out a lot, man. You run into so many different people, and he's like, yeah, like, I'm a black belt. Any type of grappling you want, any positions you want to work, like, we'll go over it, we'll create a system, whatever. And so he was really big help in this preparation for this fight. Yeah,
a bunch of free spirits living there, right?
Oh, so many, but everybody's down there with a goal. Like, they want to get in shape, they want to get healthy, or spiritual path, whatever it may be. Yeah,
there's something romantic about the expat living in Thailand, having a good time. You know, something romantic about that. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, that whole culture, man. I mean, the Thai and Muay Thai culture, what a phenomenon. If you look at combat sports, I mean, this one that it's so tied into these stadiums. It's so tied into gambling and betting. It's so, I mean, kids get indoctrinated into it at a very young age.
Super young. There's guys at the gym that I was at. Little kids, they'd come right after school and they go to Muay Thai training, and they're training just like the older guys, and then they go right back to home, eat dinner. But that's just their lifestyle. So it starts as a kid. It's like, go to school, Muay Thai, go sleep, and then as an adult, it's like Muay Thai, feed your family, Muay Thai, feed your family. These guys live at the gym, man.
Jesus.
They live at the gym, and they go home maybe 2 days after a fight just to take care of their families, and then come right back to the gym and get ready for the next fight.
Now, of course, at Tiger Muay Thai, you know, you guys, everybody knows various people in different organizations, UFC, Bellator, what have you, ONE FC. But what about those guys that are fighting in those little small Thai gyms and stadiums? Like, how much access do they have to grappling, or how do they ever are they satisfied to just do Muay Thai, or is there at all like a movement in Thailand to start doing MMA,
especially at Tiger? A lot of those guys are coming over to the MMA and learning jiu-jitsu and wrestling. One of the guys I was learning to clinch from, he was like he's got probably 300 fights. 300 Muay Thai fights, and he started training MMA and taking MMA fights. So it's they're definitely opening their mind to it and hopping in there. And there's access. In Bangkok, it's a little different because that's very like stadium based, you know, like high level Muay Thai, and they're not too focused on MMA. There are a couple MMA gyms, but if you want to do that, if you want to get the best of both worlds, it's in Phuket at Tiger. Yeah.
So, is there any MMA at all in Bangkok?
They got a couple places, but nothing with like pro fighters or any high level fighters. But they do have maybe 3 or 4 MMA gyms there, with just guys stopping in or guys who practice, you know, a little bit of everything.
I'm always really interested in countries that figure something out better than everybody else.
Yeah.
When it comes to leg kicking, like, nobody figured it out any better than the Thais. It's like no one argues that, right?
No, seriously. And their shins, man, like I think that's done for. They don't even feel the front of their legs anymore because they can kick anything, and they're getting kicks checked. There's guys that, Joe, they'll fight one night at the stadium, go 5 rounds, and then sleep, and maybe the next day go fight like another small event or a smaller event.
Christ.
Sometime even in the same night. And it's like, man, aren't you, like, your shins don't hurt, your elbows don't hurt, nothing. And these guys, they're just like, they're bulletproof. They're used to this, man. It's crazy.
Wow.
And first time in my life, I go into a locker room, and the red and blue corner is both in the same room, probably as big as this studio. And they're all getting their hands wrapped together, getting massaged out together, everything. No weird energy in the room, like, you know, in the UFC, like, they separate us, we have to kind of be separate, whatever purposes, but like in Thailand, they're just like hanging out, same room, you know, talking, whatever, and then they just go fight right after. It's so weird, like the peace, it's so weird, man. It was the first time I experienced that, and I was like, maybe I can start lightening up a little bit, like, it's only a fight. And that's kind of something I had to tell myself for this one. I had to like really fall back and rely on my training, because I was really nervous. I was nervous to start to try the new stuff that I learned out. I never threw mini leg kicks in any of my fights. I never really did that stance. Everything that I did was pretty much brand new. And I was really nervous. I was like, what if it doesn't work? You know, like so many different feelings. And for this one, the only thing I can tell myself was like, rely on your training. And a few other things. I actually got, I got like hypnotized too before. Yeah.
Dude, who did it to you?
My friend Dominique, he has this like, I met him through one of the other UFC fighters, like Julian Marquez. I met him through him, and he's like, oh yeah, I do like hypnotism, all this stuff. I'm like, okay, cool. I've done it before. I did it in California. And, so I think 2 or 3 weeks prior to the fight, we had a few sessions a week where it just like helped me to really get that visualization clear, because we have so many thoughts all the time, right? And everything just like thoughts are constantly coming in, and to stay focused and to really like get the outcome that we, set our intention to, it's kind of hard with so many distractions. So
when you go into his office or wherever you do it, and you guys talk about it, do you set a goal before you start the session?
We do this thing called timeline therapy. So it's like I'm just kind of sitting there with my eyes closed, and we kind of just do this. We'll pick a subject, whether it's like, pain, fear, nervousness, something. We'll just pick a subject of feeling, whatever's going on. And it's kind of just like a visual timeline of like, where did this start? Where did it come from? What's the event? Whatever. And we kind of just talk about that for a while. And I just kind of dig to this place of where the nervousness is coming from, or where the fear is coming from, or whatever. I kind of I find a place on my timeline and I dig from it, whether it's in the future or the past, whatever. And then we get things clear, and then after that, he kind of guides me into this like hypnotism, which is really just like a really deep relaxation. If I wanted to open my eyes or something like that, I feel like I could, but I wanted to relax. I wanted this to help, I wanted my vision to be clear. So I did my best to just like surrender to the process. And I'd say it's not something where I woke up and I was like, oh yeah, my life has changed, but I can definitely remember the thoughts that I had, so that I can stay more on like in that lane of what I wanted. And in my hypnotism, I actually visualized not winning the fight, because I didn't want to strive too hard to win. Like, it's just something that I've been kind of studying. It's like the outcome is not really like the winning or losing. I don't want to base too much on that. I just want to put on like a great performance. So I visualized after one thing, like just having my hands in the air, seeing my brother smile, my coach's smile, and then slapping hands with the crowd on the way out. And then I was also like, and I want to see my win bonus and my show money. And these are the things that I wanted to see. These are the outcomes that I wanted. Not so much just I want to win the fight, but the things that I like, how I wanted it to happen. Yeah. And having that vision clear, it helped me. And so like everything that I visualized before that, it happened. I was like, cool, hands raised, slapped hands with everybody in the crowd the way out, signed both my checks. And that was the end of it for me until the next session, until I want to get clear on something else, It was cool.
Wow. So had you done anything like that before? Any mental coaching?
Yeah, before the Gokhan Saki fight, I did something very, very similar. Yeah, with another guy.
Was that the first time you'd ever done it?
First time doing hypnotism. Yeah, definitely. And my friend Matthias, he's here, and he's really good too. And he'll just like take some notes. You kind of just have a conversation in the beginning, and everything comes from your unconscious mind. It's not somebody telling you something. I just dumped out whatever my unconscious mind was telling me. He was just helping me to like relax, be at peace, and just listen to like my unconscious mind just unfold all of these kind of like hidden answers that we all have, So that's it.
Now, when you get hypnotized and you're thinking about a specific fight, do you think about specific things that you're trying to accomplish, things that you think you'll do to him that you'll have an advantage at, or strategy, or like how do you...
So those were thoughts that were happening before my hypnotism, but then all of those thoughts were coming from the anxiety or coming from the nervousness. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it's like, let's go back on the timeline to why you're feeling nervous. Yeah, like all these things are happening. They're you're anticipating all these things happening. and it's making you feel nervous. So let's go back to the nervousness and revisit that. Why? You know? And then I'm like, psh, psh, psh. My unconscious mind just like spewing things out. And then after the process of that mixed with the hypnotism, I'm not even thinking about, oh, I'm going to hit this arm drag or whatever. I'm thinking about having my conscious clear and my mind clear and everything so that I can get the expectation that like, or the visualization that I created. Yeah.
So have you tried different versions of that or different styles of hypnosis?
No, not that I can. I mean, I've done a lot of just like closed eye, like emotional intelligence type of like exercises, you know, like where I'm just like my eyes are closed and I have someone helping me visualize internally, you know, like just whether it's dreams or emotional pain or whatever it may be. Yeah, I've had people just like guided meditation almost, yeah. But the actual name like hypnotism, I've only had it done by 2 people.
Well, when you're watching fighters, I think fighters are one of the most complex puzzles for psychologists because I think it's a super rare state. Like the rare state that someone gets to where they can be completely calm and see everything in the heat of a dangerous encounter with another trained fighter.
Yeah.
And when you're watching these things play out on TV and you oftentimes see how much anxiety plays a factor or doesn't play a factor, how much someone having the I don't give a fuck attitude for real, it can be a benefit and it can fuck you up sometimes too. And to see these complex psychological puzzles play out and see fighters struggle and then regroup, have a bad fight and come back better, all that stuff is like, it's really like a giant microscope on the human character, you know? And like a guy like you who comes back from that Johnny Walker fight and looks sensational against Eric Anders, man. It was like, that was one of those things where you're like, I like what I'm seeing. This guy, he figured some shit out, man. I mean, like that was incredible. It was really fun to watch, man. Yeah. As a guy who really loves Muay Thai, it was fun to watch.
Thanks, man. Like that's kind of the goal too going forward, is that I want to continue to like put on stuff like that, continue to learn Muay Thai, and then because that fight kind of raised the bar, right? People are like, oh man, this guy
for sure
kind of put me back on the map. So now I'm ready to just go back and, you know.
How many guys use mental coaches now, if you had to guess?
A good handful.
A good handful.
Yeah, a good handful. I think
Vinny
a lot of
Vinny Shorman, he hypnotized me, and he hypnotizes a lot of fighters.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was a trip. It was very strange. It was like, oh, this is real. It was like, it's a weird feeling, right?
How long ago was it?
It was the old studio, so it had to be at least a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, it was pretty weird. But he's a great mental coach, too, though. He knows like what's creeping around your subconscious, just waiting to pop up and play tricks on you. You know, you sure you put in enough rounds?
Where does he live?
He's a UK guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got to get linked up with him.
Yeah.
I'm all about, I don't care, anybody. I'm like, yeah, like whatever you got.
Yeah.
Vinny Shorman, let's go.
Yeah, he's a good dude. I'll connect you guys.
Heck yeah.
I think it's probably one of the least trained aspects of fighting is the mental aspect of it. You know, you realize how good guys are just by watching them train. You see them spar, you see them do all these things. Oh, damn, this guy's fucking good. This guy's got great jiu-jitsu. This guy got great kickboxing.
You ever hear about the people that, like, they're sayings, right? Like, man, that guy's amazing in the gym, but when he shows up to fight,
exactly.
he just doesn't put on. Yeah. Like, I've been that guy multiple times, and, like, yeah, a lot of it has to do with mentally.
Yeah, that's almost like an unaddressed giant chunk of the puzzle, like a third of the puzzle. Like if it was a pie, a third is keep it together. you know, like you know when it's ready to go and now, and it's all happening. Don't freak out.
And you never like. Here's kind of something that I think about. You never know everybody's situation, right? So the day before the fight, we have weigh-ins, and then Dana comes back and like he gives us our speech, right? So everyone there, you don't know what life position they're in, you know? So it's like, hey, there's a potential we can get a bonus. So all those guys are affected emotionally somehow. Yeah. You know what I mean? Some guys maybe they don't care. Some guys maybe they do. But then like we walk out and then there's a crowd, 15,000 people sold out. Look around. We got Joe Rogan sitting here. We got Mick Maynard sitting. We got Dana White. We got everybody sitting around. And then like we're still human too. So we're thinking like this is kind of like a test. You know, it's like we got the whole board right here in front of me ready to take my test. You know, like it really depends on like there's so much that goes into it. Like mentally, you got to be prepared for a lot of things. Or some guys block it out, but it's just like anything else. It's
you
crazy.
had to know about halfway into the first round some special shit was happening though.
On this fight?
Yes.
After the first round, I was very happy. I sat down. My coaches were like, okay, this is good. You're doing this. And I was like, listen, I don't want to know what's good. What should I expect the next round? Like, I was ready to go. I told this straight to George. I'm like, dude, I don't care. What do I need to do next? What should I prepare for? And he's like, prepare for a little bit more pressure. He's probably going to try to shoot for the takedown in this round. And I was like, okay, cool. So that I was just looking for that and using my tools to just prepare for that. But definitely midway through the second round, I was like, okay. Like, I know he's still got a lot of power, all this stuff, but I think that leg I should be able to, buy some time and take away a little bit of damage, like, coming at me. For sure.
I mean, he had to be in agony, and he never stopped coming.
Yeah.
I mean,
he didn't wince at all. Like, even on the cage when I was just, like, when he was on the back and I was trying to kick his leg, his facial expression never changed.
He's a fucking savage, man.
It's crazy.
He's a bad man.
Respect that guy.
Yeah.
For sure.
For sure.
Even before the fight.
Now,
before and after.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I mean, maybe even more so, man. Not everybody can do that. Mm-mm. Not everybody can take that, and to do it the way he did it, with 100% of his character intact, never shirked, never shied away from it, kept moving forward. That's a dangerous person. And he's still getting better.
Oh, yeah.
That guy's just getting better.
Oh, yeah.
When you were how much do you think the hypnosis helped you?
A really good amount, man.
How much different did you feel? Like, in what way?
I felt more clear. I feel like a lot of times I can be just kind of like an anxious guy. I feel like I feel a lot of just energy, like kind of like, I don't know. I go into a room and I'm just like, So having the focus on having my intention set on what I wanted to happen was 70%. Like, I'd owe 70% of like the hypnotism, all that stuff, to just help me to keep my thoughts on track. Something to fall back onto every single time. If I felt like I was getting distracted or getting nervous or whatever, I would remember, the things that we went over in the hypnotism. And so every time, just kind of like hit that reset button or just a delete button on thoughts that I just didn't want to have, or thoughts that would make me feel anything other than happy and ready to go.
Now, how often do you practice this? Do you practice this outside of hypnosis? Is there like some things you concentrate on or meditate on?
Yeah, so I do my best to it's kind of like the weird thing about me is fighting is something that is just kind of happened by accident. But it's caused me to search for so much peace, like inner peace, because of everything that I go through emotionally being a fighter. So going from this, I know Shab told you about it, but going from this kid who was just like super overweight my whole life, never fit in with anybody. I was always just like this introverted, gothic, weird kid that nobody ever talked to. Never even wanted to fight. I've always been non-confrontational. But somewhere in the journey of becoming a fighter, I was like, this is cool, but I need to find more peace, because this is like, it's bringing up way too much, just way too much of my anger, kind of like, from everything that I held on to. So practice meditation, a lot of meditation. I read a lot of I'll study different religions, wherever I'm at, all just to find peace, man. Like,
how does a non-confrontational guy wind up being an elite cage fighter? Stop and think about what I just said. You know what?
Yeah,
that's a very strange thing.
I'm still trying to wrap my mind around it, but I think that internally there's just a lot of expression. For me, it is a big expression, man. It's an expression of just my danger, my ferociousness, the part of myself that I've always held back. It's like I have to hold back. I'm a big guy, like if I get angry, I'm afraid I can, break something. It's like it's crazy. So fighting for me, like when I train, after training, I'm super peaceful.
Right.
After I fight, I feel like I've grown. I feel like this guy's trying to hurt me. All these things, like it's just a place where we both agree, like, hey, I'll give you my strength versus your strength, or whatever powers that strength is what we meet in the middle. And so it helps me balance, man. It does. Yeah. Because when I'm not fighting, I'm so relaxed. It's crazy.
It makes sense. And I think that's something that could aid a lot of men. I think just at least training. I think there's something particularly soothing about hitting a heavy bag. There's something particular, like when you're done, man, you feel so good. When you're done hitting pads, when you're done sparring, you feel so just peaceful.
Yeah.
Like you got it all out. You don't have anything left in you. I think a lot of men carry a lot of extra bullshit.
Yeah, man.
A lot of extra for no reason.
You got to let it out.
You got to let it out.
You got to let it out.
Yeah.
Some guys will build it up in the gym, right? And they're super huge, and it's like, you got to let it out, man.
Let it out,
you can't even swing those arms. What are you doing?
Yeah, you see less of that now than you used to, it seems like. But, yeah. It would be nice if I really think they should teach kids how to fight at a very early age.
That'd be cool.
I think it's the opposite. It would have the opposite effect. I think people would fight less. I think if you taught kids how to fight, they would just train and spar, and they'd get it all out of their system there, and they'd probably fight a lot less.
It's kind of like in our nature, right? Like everybody's got it, like a curiosity, like I wonder what it's like.
Yeah, the closest they have to it is the wrestling team. You can join the wrestling team, and they will teach you a very important part of fighting. But other than that, like, they're not going to teach you how to fight. But wrestling is kind of like, now at least, it's kind of a loophole. Like, they don't teach boxing in high school, but they'll teach you how to wrestle.
And they're pretty crazy, man.
Crazy.
And wrestling's getting rougher, it seems like.
Oh, fuck yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah. Well, some of those high school kids are savages. I remember being a high school kid in a high school wrestling room. It was awful. Those kids were trying to kill each other.
And they work out the hardest, too.
Yeah.
Huh? Running with plates over their head and all that stuff. The football team's just lifting weights and running practice. Those guys are
always
just
doing ridiculous shit.
Slaving.
Everybody's seen that movie Vision Quest, right? You seen that?
I've never seen it.
You never saw that?
I've never seen it.
Dude, it's Matthew Modine. And Matthew Modine plays this badass wrestler. And he's going up against this dude who's this other badass wrestler. And he comes to visit the guy while the guy's training. And this dude's got a log on his back. And he's walking up stadium stairs. And he says, "You think you make the weight?" Because Matthew Modine's character is trying to cut weight. He goes, "I hope so." He goes, "Hope so too." And he keeps walking up the stairs like, "Forget."
When did this come out?
A long time ago, man. Back when Madonna was young.
Oh,
that's the wrestler. So he's walking up the stadium stairs carrying a fucking log on his back.
That dude's jacked.
It's a great movie, man. Every wrestler that I knew when I was in high school, everyone worshipped this movie. What year did this shit come out? It's probably like 85 or something.
That's not the cover for it, is it?
85. Bam, I nailed it, son.
Is that the cover for it?
Yes. Look at that.
It doesn't even look like it have anything to do with a wrestler. I definitely would not click that on Netflix thinking that it was a wrestler movie at all.
She was hot as the sun, too. Fun times. But yeah, that was like the quintessential wrestling movie because he just was dedicated. And then there was his friend who lied about being a Native American.
Oh, is that what that is? I was going to say, what's that vest he's got going on?
He just wanted to be different, stand out. But it's a fun movie, man. It's a fun movie.
I'll have to get into that for sure.
Yeah, not a whole lot of movies about wrestling. That's the least glamorous but probably toughest sport for high school kids to get into.
Definitely.
You know?
I stayed away from it, man. I tried out for volleyball in high school. I actually made the team, but my grades were terrible. So I never got to play. But I was like heavy set dude, and I tried out and made it. I think it was just kind of like a joke, though. I think the coaches were just messing with me and my friends, too.
When did you get involved in martial arts?
When I was 20, so 2010. So really quick. Right after high school, I started traveling. So I used to play in a band. I used to play in mini bands and play guitar. I play guitar. I play drums. I play keyboard, a little bit of everything. Every Christmas, my mom would just get me a new instrument, and I'd lock myself in my room and teach myself how to play. And that's just always how, like, music was my first love. Instruments were my first love. So
you taught yourself?
Yeah. I just put on, like, headphones, and I would just match the sounds and then keep restarting the songs over and over again. And then if it were, like, a keyboard song, I would play it, like, just on the CD player and, as it evolved. And for some reason, I can match tunes with whatever instrument it may be.
You've always been able to do that?
Since a kid.
Wow.
Yeah. So
no formal training?
nothing.
That's great. What?
Yeah. I've tried to take guitar lessons before, but it didn't work for me. My mom was just wasting her money. Like, I was learning, but it was kind of like school for me. Like, I had a teacher. He told me, okay, this chord and this chord, and I was like, just let me feel it. Like, I gotta feel it. You know, like, I can hear it. I can feel it. I'll get it. And so I stopped going.
How many people do it like that?
I'm not sure. I know there's a lot of people that can just kind of play by ear, but so I just love instruments. So I'll pick anything up and just start playing it and end up teaching myself how to play drums, bass, guitar, keyboard. I played the stand-up bass in middle school. I've got like a little home production, like beat studio at home, all that stuff. So after high school, I started touring, and that's when like I started getting my heaviest. We were eating fast food every single day, 3 times a day. Never drank water, soda only. Smoking like a pack and a half of cigarettes a day, and just on the road traveling. And then by 19, I got up to 305 pounds. 19 years old. And I remember one night laying down to go to bed, and I just felt my heart pumping ridiculously. And I was just like, no way. This, like, I think I'm going to die. And like, I woke up in a panic. And weird thing is, I got up and I went outside for maybe like 10 minutes, and I smoked another cigarette. And I was just like, this is the problem. Like, I'm coughing up stuff. My heart is going to give out, and I'm only 19 years old, you know? So around that same week is when I discovered MMA with my brother, just like watching Ultimate Fighter on TV. And so I went on my last tour, and I told the guys, like, hey, I'm going to go train MMA. They're like, oh, you're going to be a fighter? Like, you think, you know? And I was just like, I don't know what I'm going to be, but I'm going to go train and get healthy. And they're like, okay, cool. Like, we'll see you in a couple months. You know what I mean? Like, no one really believed that I was going to go and actually train and fight. I told you, I've always been like this big, quiet, non-confrontational guy. So, yeah, I went and took my first class Muay Thai. And March 1st, 2010, took my first Muay Thai class. And then after like a month of doing Muay Thai, I started to see progression. I started to see like my face was slimming down, all this stuff. So it gave me motivation to keep going. And then remember going to a MMA event, amateur, and I saw really big heavyweight guys going at it. So I was like, I think I want to do it. I want to give it a try. And so my coach was like, okay, if you lose 100 pounds, I'll find you a fight. And I was like, 100 pounds? He's like, yeah, I'll find you a fight if you lose 100 pounds. So I just kept training. Within 11 months, lost 100 pounds, and then took my first fight. And then it's just been like, every fight has been, until now, because like now I have like more of a drive and a passion for it. But all the way up until then, everything kind of happened by coincidence, or just like, I didn't really want to fight, but I had a lot of people like, oh, you're so good, like keep doing it. And that was the first time in my life I've ever had people supporting me to like really do something that was big. And I was a new guy, and I was in shape, and I can, you know, girls are noticing me now. And like my whole life changed within a year of training MMA. Like, wow. From going to this guy that nobody even paid attention to just like, oh, hey, how's it going? Or, you know, like, oh, you're so in shape. And I was just like, oh, this is weird. It's still weird. It's only been 8 years, you know? So everything's still very new to me. My first day stepping on the mat was like, you know, 9 years ago.
Dude, that's an amazing story.
It's crazy.
That's like a legit success story.
Yeah, it's...
You know? Is that you? What kind of ridiculous ringtone do you have, sir? What is that?
Sorry. I thought I turned it up.
What is that?
It's just like stock iPhone ringtone.
It? Yeah. You ventured into the options.
Yeah.
You went down in there.
Yes, sir. So yeah, that's kind of how everything started. And then with 3 or 4 fights, and then I tried out for the Ultimate Fighter. So I had like 3 or 4 fights in 1 year being a pro, and then the Ultimate Fighter trials came out, and I like tried out for that and like made it on. And I was like, oh shit! So most of my career has been in the UFC.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that like when you hear about fighters, particularly boxers, you hear like a really well-managed boxer will get fights to test him, but with a guy that you could beat. Mm-hmm. And you learn a different thing from each different fighter as you move up the ladder, and way more of them are undefeated when they finally get a shot at either a title or a top contender. But in MMA, you could be fighting the top level guys within a couple of years of joining.
Yeah.
And it could honestly be a couple of years prior to that if you're particularly talented, where you picked up martial arts, like Ngannou. Perfect example. Francis Ngannou is like an incredible example because he's really only done MMA for 5 years, and he's still right now the scariest guy in that cage. When he's throwing bombs away, it's like you just like go. When he knocked out Overeem, that was like an unheard of knockout.
Yeah, I sparred with him in preparation for that fight.
Oof.
And I actually almost got hit with that same punch. But yeah, Francis and I went 3 rounds in the cage. And then I remember Forrest was there and John, the head coach of Syndicate. And they were like, okay, you guys tone it down, because we were going at it. And it was fun. Like, I like to go hard.
Yeah.
But
how often though?
How often do I like to go hard?
Yeah.
Every now and then. Yeah, every now and then.
Do you do mostly technical?
Yeah. So like in Thailand right now, it's like every day technical, 1 day sparring, or 1 or 2 days sparring. Yeah.
And when you say sparring, MMA sparring?
MMA sparring, yeah. And then the other days are just like technical grappling and technical striking, and then, wrestling, and then, spar on Fridays.
Now, when they break it up, do you have someone who makes your schedule for you, like for the week? Do you have all your training routines, like what your the schedule set up for morning, evening? All that? Do you have that planned out
so,
deep advance?
So they have for instance, like the gym has a schedule of all the classes, but the head MMA coach, George, would help me out. Like, hey, if you're getting ready for a fight, show up to these, and these, and I'll help you. And
almost like a curriculum.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that actually helped. And the cool thing about it is like everything was in line. So like whatever I worked with him personally in the morning, we'd still be going over in practice and even in the night practice. So getting the same things like, multiple times a day instead of just one time, and then you'll get it again later. Yeah. And
when you're training over there, you said you like 50 to 60 professionals?
I've seen so many guys on the mat. Yeah. And I'd say on a very, very low day, 20. Like so many people, guys and girls, man.
And how much of your time are you spending striking versus grappling? Do you specialize in one thing or the other?
Well, I can train grappling all day and never get bored. And like, even if I'm tired, I can still do it. But then like grappling, I do it a lot of the times because I like it, but it's mandatory and it's my job. So I I'm going to go to grappling class. But it seems like it's an even balance, but I love to go to striking more because it's just like, that's my favorite thing. But yeah, so 1 striking class, 1 grappling class, 1 MMA class, all in one day type of thing. So like 2 hours a piece, and then conditioning and running and all that stuff in the middle.
And that's sleep. 1 whole day.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. Well, the MMA class is more like, so there's a class of MMA, 1 personal going over like my specific things that I like to work on and want to work on, and then maybe whoever's mimicking the opponent, and then in the morning, Muay Thai. So for me, it's always great to start the morning off with Muay Thai. Wake up first thing, have coffee, do my 5-6K run, train Muay Thai for 2 hours, eat, go do MMA personal, and then do the MMA class at the end, and then go relax after. That routine for me can work every day, and it does. Everything's disciplined. Like, to do the same thing every day is very common in Thailand, and I think that's why I was able to put that performance on and use that many kicks, because we throw so many in one day. You know what I mean?
What's different about the training there?
There's not really classes. Like for MMA, there's not much talking. In Muay Thai, there's no talking. It's like they tell you what to do a little bit, like punch, kick, knee, teep, 5 times, 10 times, 20 times. Like it's a lot of repetition. And the same thing in the MMA class. George gives us a lot of time to drill and drill at our own pace and things like that before we go live. And I think that's what's helped me the most is less talking, more drilling. Show me 1 or 2 things. We're mixed martial artists. We're going to create something off of it. It's okay. And just let us drill it. Let us drill it. Walk around, correct if you need to. But I think people need to spend more time drilling on the mat. Go live every now and then just so you can feel what you're at. But the only way you're going to get good is by drilling.
Yeah, it's just not as fun.
Exactly. But it's training. I don't think training should be fun. You know, tell a dog to sit 100 times. You got to give him something like, you know, some type of treat. So.
The problem is certain parts of training are fun, right? Which is probably one of the reasons why you like striking.
Exactly.
It's fun.
That part for me, I can just,
Yeah. It's I really believe that psychologists should study fighters, study high-level fighters to try to figure out what makes them tick, because there's all these different versions. You're a different version. You, the 300-pound guy that decides to lose all this weight, and now you're one of the best fighters in the 205-pound division of the UFC. It's crazy, man. I mean, that's a wild story.
It'd be really cool, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you'll get one.
Psychology studies on fighters is almost mandatory, because there's certain guys that they're just impenetrable. You know, there's certain guys that they just like Khabib. Mm-hmm. It's impenetrable. Yeah, like the more shit you talk, the more he's gonna fuck you up when he gets a hold of you. Like it's not working, man. It's not getting in there. And then there's certain guys that sometimes they're hot and sometimes they get rattled, and you know, it's a crazy endeavor what you guys do. It really is.
Yeah, it definitely is, man. I think a documentary or something would be really cool too.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people and the fans need to see kind of a little bit more of the inside, the real stuff, you know?
Yeah.
The real stuff. Like, one of the craziest responses that I've been getting lately is people have hit me up on Instagram and like, I can't believe you're just a normal guy. Like, you're posting songs and you know, like doing all that. I'm like, yeah, I'm human just like everybody else. Like, I think a lot of fans kind of forget that. I think we as fighters sometimes forget too, like, hey, like for a little bit you can shut it off and be normal, you know?
Yeah. It's I mean, the balancing act it's a strange thing to ignore. You know, the balancing act that a fighter has to have with their personality, with training and competing, and then just being a normal person, and the highs and the lows, and managing all the stress of an upcoming fight. Yeah. And you're just sort of asked to go it on your own. Like, hey, good luck. Keep your shit together. Yeah. In the face of flying fists.
And it sucks too, because the higher we go up, then it's just like, it's kind of hard to go anywhere behind, right? It's like we're working to get to the top as fighters, and we want to be known and but like the higher that we go, the more like obligations, media, people want to talk to you, all this stuff, so your time kind of gets short. I was thinking about it last time, like, damn, like getting to the top's gonna kind of suck. Media, like, you know, media week or fight week for everybody at the top, they're like press conference, this, that, and I'm the type of guy where I like to just like relax, so I'll definitely need like a psychologist or something to help me out, man. More hypnotism for sure.
I don't know how much they do at the UFC Performance Institute and for as far as mindset training. Do they do any of that over there?
Not that I've seen.
I mean, that place is insane. Have you had a chance to train there at all?
Yeah, I did 2 fight camps there when I used to live in Vegas. Yeah, and it's amazing.
It's a crazy place.
But it was like a little too good for me. Like I started feeling like a little bit spoiled, you know what I mean? I was like, I gotta go run out in the street. Like, I can't be running on these nice treadmills, man.
I mean, to have a place like that where the company creates this super high level training environment there's not another gym like it on the planet Earth.
On the planet.
So, and then they just decide, like, hey, go ahead and work out there for free.
Seriously. It's pretty dope. Oh, you want a protein shake? Okay, you want food? Like, whatever you need, just live here.
Yeah. Look, it's a great way to keep guys on track with their weight cuts too. You know,
very informational, that place. Like, they've taught me so much.
Yes.
You know, just about recovery and what to do afterward. You know, they're investing a lot in just like different programs for us to take home so that we can make sure that like our nervous system's good for the next day. Like, they're putting so much stuff into figuring out how to help the fighters.
You know what I was tripped out by, really, man? Cool. That underwater treadmill jamming.
Isn't it amazing? Did you run on it?
No, I didn't.
No, you got to do it. It's sick.
I was wearing my clothes. I wasn't going to jump in there, but I was like, what? Look at this. Is crazy, this thing.
It's sick, man.
Did you do it?
Yeah, I did it a few times.
What is it? Is it good for your cardio?
It's low impact on the joints.
Right.
So like you'll get a real good cardio.
Really?
Real good cardio push on it, because there's jets blowing at you and the treadmills on the bottom. So you're trying just to you're running against the water.
Oh, wow.
And so, like, depending on how deep you go, your arms, that's all resistance.
Oh, shit.
So you can go just waist level and it's a little bit easier, but the lower you go, the harder it is. It's real good cardio. Did you do the zero gravity?
I didn't do any of the things there. I just looked at them. They just gave me the tour. Forrest Griffin gave me the 411.
Yeah. They've done a lot. When's the last time
What's
you were
the
there?
zero gravity? It's been a while. Maybe a year. What was the zero gravity?
So there's a treadmill, and you put these pants on, and then you zip into this, like you zip into it.
Oh, I did see that.
And then you turn it on, and it fills up with this air, and then you can run up to like 10% of your body weight. So it's just like, it's another zero gravity, like treadmill. It's not
low impact,
super low, and you can go all the way 10%
of your body weight.
So you're just like tippy toes, just like,
oh, that's so weird.
Yeah,
that's really weird.
Yeah, they got a lot of cool stuff, man.
Well, they're at the forefront of all recovery methods and training methods,
nutrition.
And
did you see what they're doing for this on Fight Week?
What are they doing?
So this last fight, they were like, "Hey, do you want any help? Do you have your meals prepped or anything like that?" I was like, "No, I don't." So I guess for the people that are fighting within U.S. for now, they'll prep and make everything for Fight Week when you're cutting weight, and they'll make sure.
Wow.
Like you stay in contact with the guys, Clint and them, and they'll check your weight, and then they'll make meals according to you, like whatever you need, deliver them to your room.
That's outstanding.
Sure. It was the best. And then the recovery afterward, they give you these drinks, all like USADA approved, all that stuff. It's like no problems. They help so much with that last weight cut and rehydration.
How much do you cut?
This fight I cut 19 pounds, and that's a lot. Usually I cut maybe 4 to 7 pounds.
Wow.
The last couple fights I was just coasted, but when I went to Thailand, there's a lot of sugar and a lot of stuff that I was eating out there.
Is that really what it was?
Yeah, when I was in Bangkok for a long time, and it's just a lot of street food, a lot of fried food and stuff, and I was just there, and I'm like, I'm gonna try everything. So once I got to Phuket, they actually have like health food stuff, vegan stuff. They have a lot of tourists there, so especially on the street. So the street that Tiger's on, all gyms. It's like 5 or 6 CrossFit gyms, maybe 10 restaurants, health food restaurants, everything. So I was able to stay on track there. So I was just back just a few weeks. Yeah, but I still made weight, so that's good.
That's a lot of weight to cut, though, right? Like you like to cut like about 5 or 6. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, no more than 8. Like 8 is pushing it for me. So
what difference do you feel?
The day after, I didn't. With their rehydration method, I felt amazing. Usually, if cutting that much, I'd feel a little bit bloated, a little heavy, sleepier, all that stuff. But
this when you're talking. Did you ever do IV or
I did do IV? Yeah, when I used to fight in the RFA at 185, I used to fight at 185.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
that's hilarious. How much did you cut?
Oh, I used to cut from. I'd try to get as close to 200 as possible, and then cut.
Wow.
The 15.
You must be super skinny at 200 too.
Terrible.
Oh,
terrible. I'm struggling to make 205. Not struggling, but like it hurts to make 205 now. So I couldn't even imagine like. It sucked. So
what would you think about if they abandoned weight cutting? They just opened up more weight classes and abandoned weight cutting.
Ooh. I mean, I wouldn't mind it. I would like to see that.
Don't you think it would be better for the fighters?
I think it'd be better for the fighters, and we'd see some really cool matchups.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because there's some guys that cut a lot of weight, and there's some matchups that would be really cool at different weights too.
I think it's one of those dumb things that's existed in the past and we never corrected.
Yeah.
I think we should stop it. It's not helping anybody. To lose weight for a fight so that you could be fit and in great shape, okay, sure.
But how do you go about that?
But I mean losing weight like losing weight in training, not like massive dehydration for weight cut day and then rehydration the next day for fight day. I think it's a crazy strain that guys are doing to their kidneys and their bodies. I mean, many fighters have told me that they don't feel like they can take a body shot as well when they cut a lot of weight. Like
sometimes my head, I remember in the Johnny Walker fight, I had cut, it could have been from the weight cut, but that morning, like if I even tapped on my jaw, I just felt like my head was just like off, like rattly, you know?
Really?
Like, I felt very sensitive.
Do you think that's from the weight cut?
The same night I get knocked out. I don't know what it was from, but I remember feeling that morning when I woke up. Because usually I'll shake everything off. I'll punch myself in the jaw, all that stuff just to get ready for the fight. And I remember that morning when I was like tapping myself on the jaw, my head just didn't feel right.
Dude.
Yeah.
That's not a good feeling.
No, but I got it checked after. I didn't have any like concussion or anything. So.
Did you have some particularly hard sparring session or something close to that?
I don't think close to it. During that camp, like I said, I didn't feel it all the way until I didn't have it. The only time I ever felt it was like after the weight cut, so it could have been from that.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that morning, I actually ended up cutting the last little bit of my weight the morning of weigh-ins too, which is not usually like me. I usually cut it the night before.
So you said you like to start your day off with a run. Are you doing that every day?
Yeah, definitely.
Really?
So that's one thing that I learned too is just training every day. Not learn, but it just feels different. Now I have to go and train every day. When I was in Vegas, like, I got to drive 30 minutes. You know, all these things I had a lot of excuses to make up. And now with the convenience of how training is now, I don't even make up excuses. I'm like, if I'm tired, it's a 2-minute walk. Get your ass to the gym, you know?
Right.
And so, yeah, every single day training, and then weekends off for sure.
So you're running every single day, then you're training every single day?
Before Muay Thai, it's mandatory you run. The trainers won't even let you train unless you run first. You show up, you run. The first day I showed up at Tiger's Muay Thai class, I didn't even have tennis shoes. I just showed up with my flip-flops because I was staying right across the street. And I showed up, I started wrapping my hands, and the trainer, he's like, "Are you going to train?" And I was like, "Yeah, I think so." He's like, "You think so? We'll go run." And I was like, "I don't have shoes. I only have my flip-flops." And he's like, just pointed, like, "So, go run." And I had to run, like, I think it was like 8 kilometers in flip-flops before I could even train. Yeah.
That's like 4 miles,
yeah.
Right? Somewhere around there? 5.5?
Yeah, it's like 4 miles, something like that. We just had to run. Yeah. I asked the girls, like, how long do we run for? She's like, usually like 5 to 6 kilometers or something like that. Yeah. It was like
5K is like 3.5 miles.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
I'd say like just cutting it short, 5K.
Wow.
And then in flip-flops. And
That's
I was
ruthless.
like, okay, cool. Yeah, I never forgot my shoes again. I would always show
How
up.
bad that fuck your feet up?
It wasn't too bad, actually.
No?
No, because I wasn't wearing shoes a lot anyway.
Oh.
Just Thailand, sometimes you got to take off your shoes before you enter the store.
So they're hard-assed in their discipline with the wanting
they're
you to
just
run
serious
first.
about it.
Very serious.
Yeah, they're just serious about it. They're like, show respect, you know.
And
like,
when you're running, are you running with a group of guys or are you
everybody, guys, girls, whoever shows up to class.
But is
the
it
advanced class.
is like okay? So that when they're running, are they running like organized, like in a group, or are they just is everybody running a few miles before class every time?
The first Muay Thai gym that I trained at, the straight Muay Thai gym in Bangkok, they run as a unit every day, 5 a.m.
Wow.
As a team. They live at the gym, they eat at the gym, they sleep at the gym. They are like they don't have homes. Their home is the gym, and their job is just fight and eat, sleep, train, fight. That's it.
It's crazy when they even take on the name of the gym.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's a whole different life. Like that is what made me respect and learn and love Muay Thai so much, is how these guys trained and just they lived together, everything. It was amazing. So they run as a group, but the other place we all start off, but if someone's lapping you and they just want to run fast, like it's totally fine. But before the class, everybody has to go. Yeah.
Wow, that's a smart way to do it, man. I mean, if you could really convince them to be conditioned all the time, and there's no, like, you have no option. You can't be out of condition if you're going to run 5 miles every day.
No, 5 miles and then hitting and kicking pads for 5 to 10 rounds a day, clinching 45 minutes a day. Like clinching after every session, it's like you run, knee bag, sit-ups, all that stuff. Second session is kick the bag 3 to 5 rounds until a trainer picks you up. Like for me, I had to wait for a trainer to actually even like want to hold pads for me. If you just show up, you'll just be hitting the bag until a trainer was like, "Hey, okay, I'll hold for you." And then once you actually find a trainer that wants to work with you, then you kind of whatever their schedule is for you, they'll create it. They'll hold pads, you'll kick the bag, you'll do push-ups, you'll do sit-ups, and then clinch 30 to 45 minutes after, and it's the same thing every single day.
Wow. And do you ever worry that this might be something that would be monotonous because you're doing the same way every day, or do you think we just concentrate on excellence?
No, because it's also like going to the fights and there's so many different styles. So like people are doing the same thing every day, the repetition, but the styles are completely different. You know, like nobody fights like Saenchai, right? He does the same thing everybody else does, but he has his own style.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or some guys will do the same thing, but they don't even like to kick or knee. They just like to throw elbows. I know plenty of guys like that where they just like, you know that when he goes, he's just throwing elbows all 5 rounds.
Yeah.
This guy's just going to throw knees. So it's just like, which tools do you use the best? Like, are you a kneer? Are you a kicker? Are you an elbow guy? Are you a left kick? Are you a low kicker? It's kind of like, which strikes are your thing, and then you go watch the chaos, and these guys are getting split open every night. Fucking on the stretchers, they take them stretchers on the ring, man. It's amazing. Wow. It's like, not to see someone get hurt, but like just the fact that like, these guys are all out brawling every night. Every single night there's a fight at the stadium, and Thursday nights are the nights that like the higher guys go, and they're packed with people, thousands of people. Like the one I went to, there was a few thousand people there for the stadium. It looked packed, and everyone's betting like, oh, no. And then when the kicks land, they're like, oh, hey. And, the energy is crazy.
Wow.
They never shut up, man. I'm getting hyped thinking about it. Get me back to Thailand right now.
How did Saenchai figure out how to do Muay Thai different than anybody?
Man.
He's so interesting with his quick switches of the feet, and like even the way he throws kicks, he's just got like a little different flavor to everything he does.
I don't think he can help it. You know what I mean? There's just something about the guy's character. It's just like his fighting is him.
Right.
You know, like he's kind of outgoing, like just a weird, funky guy, and it makes sense that he fights like that. You know what I mean? It's not like he's just like serious, like stern guy, but then goes out there and fights all crazy. Like he seems like his fighting is definitely an expression of himself.
He's so good, man.
Yeah.
He's so good. I like watching him just warm up. Sneakers on, outside, sweating, throwing elbows and knees and
everything.
Shit. He's a bad motherfucker, man. And he's not young.
No, I think he's in his 40s.
Is he?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
Can we look how old Saenchai is?
38.
38.
Oh.
He's getting there.
He's getting there. But meanwhile, he's in his prime.
Still
fucking
fighting
people up all the time.
Multiple times a month.
Multiple times a month. Have a fight. Good luck. You know, shows fists and like dynamite. His Instagram was awesome, man. And he's got these great videos of him warming up, and you watch his movement, man. It's like, wow, he's something special. It takes a lot of fucking energy to move around the way he does, too.
Yeah, I'm sure he still shows up to the gym every single day, too.
I'm sure.
And he's like holding pads for foreigners and all that stuff. I stopped by Yakao Gym. He wasn't there, but I hear like
there he
he's
is.
Always there. Look at that guy.
Motherfucking man right there.
He just posted a video the other day wearing this crazy wig.
Go to see if you can find a video of him.
There it is right there. Look at this guy. Even how he throws his kick.
It's different,
It's
right?
so different.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't really like turn all of his upper body like a lot of the ones I've seen.
Right. He's a volume guy, but he knocks guys out with one shot, too.
Look at that catch. He didn't even like it, just instinctual, you know, like he didn't even
so
think about
good.
it. Didn't even flinch.
He's so good.
Checked. Up. Swipe. Oh.
It's interesting when you think of how many different people are doing it, and that this one guy stands out. I love outliers, man.
So that's one thing that I learned compared to like watching Muay Thai in the States and then going there, the amount of kicks and knees that they're throwing. I'm looking at fighting like, okay, like when's the next punch going to happen? These guys throwing kick after kick after kick for 5 rounds. I was like, okay, I'm definitely not kicking enough, so I got to start kicking. So they like being in Thailand definitely helped me to learn the importance of kicking.
So we were talking about the shoot box style. Rafael Cordeiro, who is absolutely one of the best Muay Thai striking coaches on the planet. It's funny that he's such a nice guy, and he trained the most murderous crew of angry Brazilians. Rafael Cordeiro could not be nicer. They had Anderson Silva, they had Vanderlei, and when Vanderlei Shogun look at that photo of Rafael Cordeiro.
Oh my God, Rafael Shogun.
Yeah. Dude, that's a fucking team of assassins.
Another one that's got like Pele, everybody.
Yes, that's
Anderson.
right. Pele too. They were some.
The guy who taught me Muay
men.
Thai, Michael Costa. He was from that same group.
I
Same
really,
era, man.
to this day, do not understand why Muay Thai is not more popular. I've never understood it. It's so exciting to watch.
Yes,
I was
it
like,
is.
if we had a league in America that people understood who the fighters were, got to know them and root for them and see, like you see with boxing with Terrence Crawford, he's at his prime right now.
Yeah.
He's on top of the world. I want to see a guy like that in Muay Thai, and I think it would be the same thing. I think Americans would jump on board if they understood how exciting it is.
Yeah, you see a good handful of foreigners and Americans in Thailand to go watch,
Right.
Muay Thai, and I thought the same thing. Like, man, they got to get this. They got to get this out
let's
here.
figure it out. You and me, let's figure it out. What
Let's
are they
get it
missing?
done.
What's missing? Dana White has a good point. He thinks that culturally we won't accept kickboxing after PKA karate from like the 1980s. Like,
That's way before my time.
It's terrible.
I was born 90.
It was guys would throw like these little kicks. So they had to throw like 8 kicks around, and then they would have like a sloppy boxing match some of the time. There's some really good guys that fought in there too, like real high level guys like Benedict Urquidez fought in PKA, and a lot of like really really good strikers. But there was nothing compelling about it.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that you wanted to watch all the time. But if you could watch some of the best Muay Thai fights that you've ever seen, and you could watch them on television, just like show people on television some crazy wars that you and I have seen from the past, like how could you not like that?
Ugh.
If you like striking, how could you not like guys who are experts in bone smashing?
Dude, that's why I have a lot of love too for I'm a huge One Championship fan.
Me too.
I'm a huge One Championship fan.
Yeah, I like what he's doing. I like how he's mixing all 3 of them together too.
It's amazing because you can literally go to a fight and see a good MMA match.
Yep.
Like if you like grappling and striking, obviously, and you can see legit Muay Thai fighters. Like
Yeah.
my friends from the stadiums are fighting in Bangkok on the 10th. So I'm really I can't wait because I really want to get there by the 10th to go see this One Championship event in Bangkok.
Wow.
But the guy, one of my friends, Pet Bam. He's a stadium champion, and he's fighting One Championship again, and it's just sick to see, man.
Yeah, I don't think people understand how big it is in Asia either. There's a lot of American fans that are just really, they're missing it.
Yeah.
It's like Asia's version of the UFC. It's gigantic, if not
Huge.
bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, the numbers are insane. And they got some fucking killers over there.
Yes, they
got
do.
some legit killers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like that guy Nastiukin who just knocked out Eddie Alvarez.
Yep.
That
He trained a
guy's-
tiger.
Dude, that guy's legit.
Yeah. I remember.
Did you train with him at all?
No, I will alongside him. I didn't personally train with him, but I remember one day we were training, and he was the last one on the mat, and our wrestling coach Frank was he said something like 10 more sprawls and you beat Eddie Alvarez or something. And the guy's just grinding, he's just digging himself into the mat. It was cool to watch him prepare for that fight. But there's guys like that. That's
Yep.
he trains there all the time. And he beat Eddie Alvarez.
I
That's
think
a big
it's-
deal.
I think it's a big factor over there too that they don't cut weight. I think that's a big
Yeah.
factor. If you're used to being the bigger fighter all the time,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden now you're not. Now no one's cutting any weight. I mean, they have some sort of a system. Ben Askren was explaining it to me. I don't really remember how it works, but there's some sort of a system where they stop you from weight cutting.
Yeah.
Like they check your hydration.
They check your
levels.
hydration levels. Yep. You got to be.
It's the right way to do it.
Yeah.
He's correct. He's smart. It's the right way to do it. We should have done it a long time ago in the UFC.
Man.
I really think that.
All the weight cut issues, all that stuff, ruining cards, all that, it would all be eliminated, right?
Yes, ruining cards, and even more importantly, I think causing fighters to fight at less than their full potential.
Yeah.
How many fighters got hit when they shouldn't have gotten hit because if they were recovered completely, if they didn't have to, not recovered completely, but if they didn't have to recover from a weight cut? I mean, who knows? Maybe there's shots you ate because that you wouldn't have eaten.
Yeah.
Right, especially if you're some guy who's cutting a brutal amount of weight. It's entirely possible that you could get hit with something you wouldn't if you didn't have to cut weight. It would
And
be
we can fight
detrimental
more
to your
often.
career. Yeah.
Right? We can fight more often. And
Yeah.
the training would be a lot better, too, because we wouldn't, a lot of fighters spend the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks of their fight or their camp
Just trying to lose weight. It's a
that's
terrible way to approach
month
it.
of learning
Yeah.
and building strength and all that stuff that you could do. So I don't know. I think it'd be awesome.
The only argument for it is that the guys who are tough enough to do it and cut a shitload of weight have this massive size advantage, and sometimes it allows them to win. And they think they should be able to do it because they're tough enough to cut all that weight. Yeah, I get it. I mean, it's hard to do. You have to be a strong person, but I just don't think it's good for anybody. I don't think it's good for the athletes. I don't think it's good for the sport. I don't think it's good for anybody. It's just an old way. It's just an old thing that people are doing so they don't have to fight the bigger people.
You know, it's crazy because I have to answer that question a lot for people who don't. Like, some of my friends are just like, oh, like, they'll hit me up like, hey, I'm like, I can't talk this week. Like, I got to cut weight. Like, it's not a good time.
I can't
and they're
talk.
Like, how do you lose 20 pounds in a day? And why do you do that? You know, I'm just like,
right.
I don't know how to explain it. It's just because that's what we do. You know, there's not really... It's just what I have to do.
When you see certain fighters get on the scale, though, like Conor McGregor when he made 145,
it's crazy.
Looked like a zombie man, like a Walking Dead character.
Yeah,
I was like, holy shit, man! He looks like the Ice King.
Yeah.
What's that? No, the Winter King. Is it, what do you call him?
The Night King.
The Night King.
Yeah, the Night King. He did look like the Night King. But did you see him when he fought Nate? Nate.
Yeah, 170 looked great.
He looked great, right?
Looked great. Yeah. There's a difference.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, there's... Wow.
Yeah, look at the difference.
That's insane.
The Night King.
Oh, my God.
Look, he looks happy right there. He's just like, I just had a burger.
I know.
Went to sleep good and then whooped some ass. The other one, he's like, yeah.
Dude, he's on death's door right there.
They're really only 3 months apart? 4 months apart?
No way.
December 2015 and March 2016, is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
You know what's crazy too? Sometimes
so
weight cutting messes up the mind too, because you see yourself so shredded, right, at one point in your life, and then like I can get maybe like 5 pounds. I'm like, man, I'm out of shape. Like I got to get back in shape.
Yeah, you get accustomed to it.
Yeah,
you'll never allow yourself to get back to 300 pounds again.
Oh, never.
No,
there's not. I can't go down that road.
What a crazy transition though, to go in a 10-year span from being a guy who's like really overweight and worried you're going to die to being an elite UFC fighter.
Yeah, like that's life for me is happening now. Like this is kind of the beginning of everything for me, you know? It's really cool. It's really cool. And I'm glad that I found mixed martial arts just because it gives me, it's a journey, man. Yeah. It's not just UFC. It's just like finding MMA and diving into different cultures and lifestyles and understandings and sometimes philosophies, all this stuff just to understand, just to put it all together, just to have it all make sense at the end of the day. Like it's been a beautiful thing, man. I've been able to meet a lot of people, go a lot of places. Like I'm very thankful and I'm very just like I'm okay with life, you know.
It's very
awesome.
good to hear, man. That's a cool thing to hear. I love hearing that. Yeah. You're cool with life. Yeah, you're on a great path, man. It's also what's inspiring about it for other people is your story of being at a place where you weren't like that before, and your story of being overweight and smoking cigarettes and feeling depressed. Like shit. And then now you're like, for so many people out there, that gives people hope. Yeah, that gives them a thought like, maybe if I just figure this out, I actually can. Maybe life doesn't suck. Maybe it just sucks the way I'm living. Maybe if I could just figure out this path in a positive direction, I can change everything. I could be like you right now. What was the exact quote?
I'm happy with life.
You're happy with life?
I'm happy with life.
Yeah,
cool with life.
You're cool with life. You're happy with life. That is a great quote. Most people don't get to that spot.
And the crazy thing is, too, I didn't have this dream to be in the UFC. I made a choice to just go get healthy. You get me? It was like a short step in the right direction.
What propelled you to take the first fight if you were just trying to get healthy?
A lot of encouragement, and the first time really hearing people like being good at something that like I was like surrounded by fighters and guys who believed in me and like who cared and like wanted to see me get better and tougher, and I was getting my ass kicked every day, and that was something that I wasn't used to. Just being in that environment, I had at that time learning, I had a very strong team. Like I started at Vanderlei School when he was still fighting. So a lot of the guys, it was like shoot the box style. It's like everyone's getting knocked out. Every training somebody gets knocked out.
Really?
It's like very hard. And that was new for me to get in things like that. And I
was
had
even doing that in Vegas.
Oh yeah, man. I remember helping him get ready for either it was like Brian Sand or Chris Lieben, and throwing full on elbows in the cage, no pad. Like, we're going at it. Like, my jaw was dislocated, everything, but it was just like what we learned was just always fight. In Brazilian, they porrada every day.
Wow.
Every day, porrada. Porrada.
What do you think about that?
It definitely made me tough in the beginning. Now I realize that, like, I've only been doing this a short time, and I already feel like aches and pains and stuff, and I don't want it to be like that when I'm older. So I'm a lot more smart about my training. And
do you think it was a critical aspect of your success, though?
I needed that.
Gone through the fire like that.
I needed that
because 100%. You were this different guy.
I needed to know what I was made of.
Right.
Being a guy who's overweight, insecure, all these things, never going on hikes. Or my dad passed away when I was younger, like very young, and so I never had my dad to encourage me to go throw a ball or anything, play sports or be a man, be a boy, just be. Right. I was always like kind of sheltered by my mom, and she was more like protective, like, don't go do that. And then she finally learned to just like set me free. But I needed to know what I was made of, man. Mm-hmm. I needed to know what I was made of in the realm of men fighting, whatever it took, blood, tears, sweat, had the same thing that they say. Like, I didn't know what that was like. I never got a taste of it. And so going through it in a real way of like actually getting my ass beat and having to find my way out of it and can't run from it, and still like it's people that cared about me too. It was just a great thing to have, and now I enjoy it. I enjoy a really good hard fight. You know what I mean? There's something about it.
You're enjoying your progress too. Your change of who you are as a person. Mm-hmm. You're strengthening. How far into your training were you like 100% all in committed like that?
I think it was after my loss to Tyson Pedro, which was my second fight in the UFC. Before, everything was still kind of very fun in games, and I was like, I get to travel, go to Australia, fight in Australia. So it was a big shock to be in the UFC, especially not even expecting to be there within just a few years. So after losing that fight is when I met my friend, and at the time my strength and conditioning coach, Lorenzo, and he had been through like pararescue school and things like that. So he helped me to just develop this mentality of like, how far will your mind take you? How big is your will? And when training with him and doing kind of like pararescue survival training for conditioning, that was a point where I started to like say like, okay, I'm going to take this full on. I know I can fight hard, but now I know how far my will can go in the face of the elements and everything. So like putting those two together, going after it, and then the fight I took after that was Daniel Jolly. And then I ended that in the first round with a knee, and then I fought Paul Craig in Scotland. And I had the same mentality, like I'm going forward, I'm getting better, I'm going to grow stronger, better, harder, like everything. And then the fight to the Polish guy, Michael Aleksiejczuk. Have you seen him lately?
No.
He just beat like Jean Vellante, and I forgot his
last
that's
fight.
Right. Yeah, with a body shot. I lost to him, but then it got turned into a no contest. So after that was a Gokhan Saki fight. So it's been, I'd say,
how did
maybe
it get
3
turned
years.
into a no contest? Did he test positive?
Yeah, I tested positive, but he was also a last minute fight.
I always fuck his name up.
Michael Aleksiejczuk.
Yeah, it's a rough one. At the weigh-ins, I always butcher it. Terrible at some of those fucking names.
Michael Aleksiejczuk.
Yeah. Yeah. So when
it's been like 3 or 4 years, man.
And how many fights you have professionally?
Dang, what's my record? 8-3, 8-3-1.
That's funny that you don't really know your record.
I don't remember. 8-3-1. I think it's 8-3-1.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's amazing that you've been fighting for a relatively short period of time and have achieved some pretty fucking spectacular results, man. Do you have anybody in your past that was into martial arts? Do you? Is it in the family? Do you have any?
My brothers were both like just athletes in school, and they were always getting in like fights and stuff at school. Like I said, I was non-confrontational, so that was like they were the biggof fighters to me growing up.
Are they stunned that you're a fighter now?
No, my other brother is actually a fighter too. He fought for like the World Series of Fighting 125 belt and the Contender Series, things like that. He's still fighting, still training. And then my oldest brother, he doesn't fight. He used to play like college football and stuff. But yeah, so I got one brother.
So it's in the family a little bit at least.
A little bit.
What do you think of the World Series of Fighting, which became the Professional Fighting
PFL.
League? Yeah, and they're giving away $1 million to everybody who wins whatever their respected weight class is, right?
Yeah, and then you fight 2 times one night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you
sounds
think of
kind of
that?
cool, but I don't know.
The 2 times in one night, I don't like.
2 times in one night sucks, but I don't know if they get paid to show up and then, or it's like you just fight and then hopefully you get that meal.
I don't want to see a guy who goes through a 3-round war fight a guy who knocked a guy out in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Because that can happen. It does happen. It
Easily.
just seems so unfair.
Did you see? I thought Vinny Moglesh was going to take it that last one.
I did too.
I remember seeing it live.
He's really coming to his own. His striking is caught up with a lot of his grappling.
Oh, yeah.
And he's fantastic
That
off
guy's
of his
dangerous
back.
on the
He's
ground,
very
right?
dangerous.
I've never seen a guy that big, that flexible.
He could do everything when it comes to jiu-jitsu. Do you ever see when he flying armbar Pei de Pano?
Nope.
It's crazy. Like, who the fuck does that?
Nope. I was at that match, the Metamoris. I think it was was it Metamoris when he grappled Keenan?
Was that
It
Metamoris?
was like a few years back, maybe like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
It could have been Metamoris or EBI.
I
but it
forget
was
all
cool.
the Metamoris matchups. They had some good ones, but I forget all the matchups.
Yeah. Those are good events, huh?
Yes. Yeah.
No more, huh?
I wish there was more of those, man. I mean, I'm happy Eddie Bravo's sort of taking over that space with the EBI and combat jiu-jitsu now. Have you seen
With
that?
the slaps, right?
Yeah, what do you think of that?
It's so sick, man. It's so sick.
It's a great idea, right?
It's nice.
It's a great idea.
Sometimes, like, you might be holding on, but that slap, that might cause a guy to let go of something.
Changes the game. There's things that aren't available anymore. You can't just allow yourself. It's just too hard. You could somebody stop somebody. Wagner Rocha stopped somebody, got on top, mounted him, and just blasted him with palms to the head. Yeah, it was pretty rough, man. It's like it's almost like MMA.
Look at that.
I mean, you can do ground and pound, and we learned from Boss Rutan way back in the Pancrase days. Do you remember those days?
Yeah.
Boss Rutan figured out how to pull his hand back way further than other people, and Boss Rutan would smash guys with palm strikes. He would throw them like uppercuts and hooks. Like, he wasn't just like slapping you. Yeah. This is some really high level jiu-jitsu too with smacks.
Look at my.
Yeah.
And you know that guy's not used to getting slapped.
No,
man.
not by a guy with a nasty guard like Wagner Rocha.
Yeah,
he's
he
getting-
wants to tap
his
right there.
nose is getting
Oh
fucked
my
up.
goodness.
Yeah.
Can you tap from the slap?
Yeah, you can tap.
Oh.
Yeah, he's getting beat up. The referee's just going to stop
Shit.
it. Mike Beltran, seen enough. See, once he starts dropping those palms down.
Boy.
Yeah, poha. Yeah, it's
Look at that. Bat. Forehead.
It's
Bat.
a reality check. You know, it's a reality check about how dangerous this position is. You can't really just sit and let a guy mount you.
Oh,
You have to
sucks.
do something desperate to get out of that. But in jiu-jitsu, if the guy's just mounting you, you can kind of chill out.
Yeah, you're chilling out,
Yeah.
figuring out how to escape a leg or something
Not
like
in
that.
that shit.
Yeah.
Combat jiu-jitsu, you got to get the fuck out of there. That's a terrible place to be.
Yeah, same thing with like MMA, right? Being mounted sucks, especially when you're
Yeah.
tired.
Well, the difference between MMA grappling and regular grappling, too, used to always be with one of the big ones, at least I should say, was leg locks. They thought you really couldn't get away with leg locks in as much in MMA because as you're going for the legs, you have 2 arms committed to the leg. Someone's just going to punch you in the face, and you don't have defense for it. But now you're seeing when guys like Imanari burst on the scene and started ripping guys' knees apart. You see
Yep.
how effective that is. And then Paul Juarez.
Are you
started
a leg
fucking
locker?
No.
You don't like leg
I'm
locks?
scared of it.
They're scary, huh?
Yeah, I've
They're
had
so
I've had
infatuating.
3 knee operations and 2 reconstructions.
But are you like? Do you like to watch?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I like
I
the
do.
John Danaher.
Yeah.
Dude, he's so interesting.
Gordon
oh my God.
Ryan and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember just like kind of looking into a little bit
Eddie
of those.
Cummings. Yeah, those guys are savages.
Yeah.
Gary Tonin, they're fucking people's legs up. And, you know, and then Craig Jones and all these other guys that are coming from all over the world that are leg lock specialists now. They all have these complex leg lock systems now.
Yeah.
It's a totally different thing. It scares the shit.
World.
You fuck up, you go zig when you should have zagged. Like when Ryan Hall fought BJ Penn.
Yeah, right.
And he caught him in that. I was like, no, not that way. Yeah, he just tried to get out. He tried to get out, and Ryan Hall just locked it up.
Oh, I just imagine the feeling right now. I always tap early.
Oh, well, it's once that stuff gets chewed up inside there, that's the problem. I mean, some people could just take it, but once you start ripping meniscus apart and cartilage apart, once that stuff starts happening, ligaments start getting stretched out and rip a little bit, and they're always going to be wiggly. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, even Gordon Ryan just ripped his fucking leg apart.
Did he really?
Yeah. He just had surgery. I think he did it in an actual grappling match, though. I think his leg moved weird, and it popped his knee apart.
But the guy had a hold on it?
I don't think so.
No,
I think it was in a scramble. I think it came apart in a scramble. But there's a lot of those leg lock experts right now that scare the shit out. And everything came from Dean Lister, which is crazy.
Dean Lister?
Do you know the story?
No.
John Danaher was talking to Dean Lister. And Dean Lister was talking about leg locks. And John Danaher said something, he inquired about why you do leg locks. And he goes, why would you ignore 50% of the body? And John Danaher, being that fucking crazy wizard that he is, was like, why would you? Why would you? There's all these memes. There's a fucking hilarious meme of John Danaher in bed next to a woman, and it says, why would you ignore 40%, 50% of the body?
Oh, man.
Yeah. And there's other guys. Yeah. Well, Danaher's a guy who understands things. Like, he sees them on a very complex level. Like, he understands all the various possible exchanges and what's the best way to mitigate, like, stop the defense, push the offense, control the situation. What is the ultimate control position I have to get to? Do I have to get on the inside? Do I grab it this way? Do I grab it? And then once they started really experimenting and putting it together and putting it into a system, and you see how these guys who have only been doing jiu-jitsu for a few years, like Nicky Ryan and Gordon Ryan, they start tapping all these like really legit guys. And like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah, those
what
systems
are they doing
are crazy.
over there?
He's got Kimura system, headlock system, everything, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I think that helps a lot.
Yes.
Just when it comes to training, learning things in systems. You know what I mean? I think 10th Planet has like their own type of system, right?
Oh, for sure.
And it helps. It helps. You go to another state, it's like it's the same system, right?
Yeah, all systems help, man.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and then fighters devise their own system really often, you know, have their own entries and their own ways of defending things. But the leg lock game is so unexpected, because I always thought they were a good technique if you can get it, but it's not that high percentage in MMA. That was kind of how I felt. You didn't see too many of them.
I don't know why.
I think it was we had a few guys that were really good in the early days, like Oleg Taktarov and, you know, some other guys who were really good, but we didn't have the level that you have like a Paul Harris.
Yeah.
Diving on things, transitioning from one thing to the next, and then locking you up in a position where you better tap quick, because if you don't, you're going to be screaming.
Do you think a lot of the times it's those guys, like the other guy's fault, or does he really just hold too long?
He definitely holds too long.
Yeah.
He has. There's one fight from Brazil where it's crazy. He's just not letting go. He's just holding on to something. I forget what it was, but he was not letting go, and they were trying to separate him, and he was still hanging on to it. I think he came from a really, really bad childhood.
Okay.
And he's talked about it in depth, about growing up on a farm and being forced to eat pig slop when he was a little boy.
No way.
That cut that he has on his chest, that big scar, he had sealed that up with glue. Yeah, like crazy shit.
Man.
Yeah.
I've met him before a few times, like through some friends, and he seems like a cool guy.
Yeah,
like,
he does.
You know, genuine.
I just think when he's
a killer.
in competition, man, he just doesn't want to let it go.
Yeah.
He wants, and they make him let it go, and he tried, even though he knew that they were going to get mad at him if he didn't let go, still didn't quite let go.
Yeah.
And they're like, get the fuck out of here. They kicked him out of the UFC, the first guy ever to get kicked out of the UFC for holding on to submissions.
Oh, he got kicked out?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Do you know who he held it against?
I don't know, but I want to make sure that that's true. I think it is. That Husamar Paul Harris was the first guy to ever get kicked out of the UFC for, and I think the last one they got kicked out for was like any normal person wouldn't even gotten in trouble for that one.
Yeah.
It was like normal. It was like maybe a little bit too long, but it was on that borderline edge. But because it was him, people were like, enough. You know? Is that what it was?
It wasn't in the UFC, but it was a controversial submission victory over Jake Shields at the World Series of Fighting.
Yeah, Jake Shields, I think.
Yeah, but I think he did that too, but that was a Kimura. Yeah, that's right. But I think before that, he got kicked out of the UFC.
Released in 2013. Oh, Mike Pierce had a referee intervened.
Referee intervened, that's right.
Heel hook, there you go.
Yep, so that's what it was. Yeah. Okay, that's what it was. He was released after holding on to a heel hook of Mike Pierce in 2013. Yeah. But look, man, that guy was he's particularly scary when he fought because he was so strong and his body was so well designed for heel hooks.
Oh, right.
He just could grab a hold of you and rip your shit apart, man.
Look at that.
Look at the size of him.
Oh, my God.
Bro. Look at this. Now, look what he does here. See, he grabs a hold of it. Mike Pierce is
already done.
He's tapping. He's still holding. But that's all in slow motion. But it looked to me like he was still ripping the knee apart, even though he knew that the guy tapped.
Yeah.
He had it. He knew he had it. He's just punishing that guy. You know, he makes it scarier for other people, and he's probably used to doing it. You know, he had this psychological block. They all say that he's like a really, really nice guy.
Yeah. You just become that guy that nobody wants to fight.
Fucking
and you can't
animal, man.
make no money.
But I think in the Jake Shields fight, there was other shit that was happening, too. I think there was eye pokes. I'm pretty sure.
Just a dirty fight.
What do you hear?
Yeah.
What are we hearing? Is something bleeding through into our microphones?
I've heard this before. I've been trying to catch what it was.
It's ghosts, bro.
I don't know what it's from. It's some interference.
I see dead people.
This is like, so I don't know if the people can hear it. Can the people hear it?
Oh, it was this.
What is it? What is it?
It's the fight. I pull up the fight. That's not.
Oh, you left the fight on. Jesus Christ, Jamie.
No, it's very low. It's low leveled.
We just debunked Ghost, bro. Which fight was it that you pulled up?
That fight that took
yeah. Oh, when he
Mike
ripped
Pierce.
that guy's knee apart. Yeah. He was the first guy to be like super scary and a elite modern level with heel hooks.
Where did he start off? Do you know what promotion?
Well, he's a Minotauro guy.
Okay, yeah, he is a Minotauro guy.
So he came out of Brazil.
Probably Cage Warriors?
I don't know, man. I don't know what he was fighting in Brazil.
I don't remember seeing
Cage Warriors is the UK.
Is
right?
it?
Yeah. That's where Anderson came from. Well, Anderson, when he made the jump from Pride, he did Cage Warriors for a while and then came over to the UFC.
And I think that's when he started working with the Nogueiras, when he started fighting in Cage Fighters.
Oh, so he fought in a bunch of Fury FCs, fought in a bunch of stuff. Storm Samurai 12. Dun, dun,
Floripa
dun.
Fight.
Storm Samurai 12. I want a t-shirt for Storm Samurai 12.
Damn. Throwback.
Yeah. Real throwback. Yeah. He had a great
high voltage.
It goes to show you how good Gary Tonin is as a submission grappler too, because they had a great submission grappling match. Go back to his record there, because I think that was listed there. I think it turned out in a draw, and Gary Tonin is so much smaller than him. Draw, yeah, Gary Tonin.
Oh yeah, that was recent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Was that really 2016?
I think it was.
Because I remember. No, that was Craig Jones. Okay.
2018 was Craig Jones.
Yeah, because I remember someone was posting pictures about like how he looks now. Toquinho, he's got a fade and like this big mustache now, and he's all.
He looks like he's 1,000
again.
pounds.
Yeah, for sure.
It looks like he's running through walls.
Yeah.
Is he fighting MMA anymore, or is he just doing grappling?
I think he might just be doing grappling. I haven't heard any MMA news.
That's something extra scary about a guy who'll fuck your knee up.
Yeah.
You know? What's up? Look at the size of him now.
Look at that.
Whoa, son.
He's with Hickey Monstro.
Oh, son.
Dude, look at that arm.
Son.
I do not want to get my heel caught in that armpit.
Yeah. Look at that picture above where he's screaming. Look at that picture. Like, what in the fuck, man?
No way. Look at Craig Jones just chilling.
That is a body designed to rip your legs apart. Do you know the heel hook game?
Not enough to really play it, but I spent a little bit of time picking the brains of people who are good at them. Yeah, I like it. I enjoy it. Yeah, I think I could actually get pretty good at it. It's like the basics of it seems pretty simple. It's just a matter of like getting comfortable there, because I feel like my knees are just. I don't want to risk it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
No, I can do
like,
it.
Oh, let's play this game a little bit.
Yeah.
No. But if I find a partner that's not an asshole and just like really wants to like learn together or whatever, then I'll do it. I'll go after it.
Do you ever see yourself doing jiu-jitsu matches or anything like that?
Yeah, I've only done maybe 3 in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did one. My last jiu-jitsu competition was probably 2.5 years ago. Naga. Just like, it was random. Just like a random, like, oh, okay, I'll do Naga today.
Well, there are some MMA fighters that are at a high enough level of grappling that they can compete against really elite grapplers in jiu-jitsu matches.
Yeah.
You know, like Chad Mendez, remember he had that match with Jeff, why am I blanking on his name?
Not Jeff Glover.
Jeff Glover. That's
Really?
right. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think he choked him out. I think
Chad Mendez choked out Jeff Glover.
I think he took his back and tapped him. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I think they were using the Eddie Bravo invitational rules. Make sure that's true. Which you start on someone's back.
Yeah.
You know, in overtime.
Yeah.
You go to a certain distance. Is that Chael Sonnen's? It is. It's Chael Sonnen's organization. In which case, I'm pretty sure they use the EBI rules. So he got his back through sort of one of those overtime positions, but he still tapped him. And the other one is Uriah Faber. Uriah Faber is pretty fucking elite. Pretty fucking elite. Like
Jeff Glover's an animal.
Oh my God.
I love that guy.
Super, super technical, you know, and very dangerous.
And relaxed, right?
Mm-hmm. Big time stoner.
Yeah.
So they must have set him up on his back. This doesn't show it. It just shows him have the back. Man, that's a hell of a fucking rear naked right there. That works all day on everybody, even a Jeff Glover.
Wow.
And that's why jiu-jitsu works. You know, if you're elite, it'll work.
Save your ass.
Yeah, 3 by overtime submission. So we were correct. Yeah. There's a few guys, but it's really hard to be the master of everything, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So for you, is there a balance where you're like, am I spending enough time grappling? Am I spending enough time striking? Do you ever like wonder what the correct formula is, or do you tinker with it at all?
I have wondered, and I always wonder, but I can't so a long time ago, maybe like a few years ago, Anderson told me like, listen, you need jiu-jitsu. Like, you need it. And he's like, it saved my life. I love to strike too, but when I learned jiu-jitsu, it changed my life. So you need to learn it. Put on a gi. Let's roll. Like, right there in the living room, you know? And I was just like, okay. So one of the things that I learned from him is just, he's like, learn the basic stuff. Like, learn the basic stuff, get really good at it, and then like use it to save yourself, and you'll end up growing. He's like, just keep training jiu-jitsu. You don't need this whole crazy secret system at the moment. Just make sure that you're training jiu-jitsu and continue to learn jiu-jitsu. You know, like, so that's kind of my takeaway from the conversation. So I just make sure that when I'm training, at least I'm doing jiu-jitsu. You know, like, I focus on it, make sure that I'm getting better, make sure that I'm going with guys that are way better than me. So I'm always getting my ass kicked, but at least I'm always going with guys that are better than me all the time. And like, I enjoy it, but I'm a striker. That's it. Like, I enjoy it. I know that I need it. It's my job. I know that it can get dangerous if I go against, if I go against a guy who's high level jiu-jitsu. I know that. I understand that. And I'm very aware of it every time that I train. And so I make sure that I do my job and I go to jiu-jitsu class. But I'm a striker, and I'm always going to be focused on that's always going to be what, like, my go-to. Anybody, whether it's a striker, a grappler, I don't care. I'm going to train striking, and I'm going to train jiu-jitsu too, but I'm going to my striking always.
Do you think that is like you're letting everybody know? Are you trying to trick people, and then next fight you're going to shoot on folks?
Oh, I don't need to shoot. I'll shoot if I need to. Like, if I'm getting my ass kicked and I need to take a desperation shot.
But you would rather just let them know that you're coming out striking. Because one of the things about, I believe you do, and you're very good at it. But one of the things that's interesting about real high level MMA, when you look at the guys who have been like legendarily successful, like George St. Pierre or Mighty Mouse, two great examples. One of the things is you never knew what the fuck they were going to do to you. And that overloading the mind with possibilities is a part of their success. It's like, how much of a part? It's a good question. Do you think that there's an argument for using the skills that you have, which are quite spectacular, with that sort of style that incorporates way more takedowns, way more takedown attempts, way more feints, just different combinations of things, so you never know what the fuck is happening at any given time? Or do you think that it's better to just be the best striker you can, and that'll be enough? You stop those takedowns, that'll be enough.
For me?
For you.
Or just in general?
For you.
I think for me, it would be the best to just be the best striker.
Just because you enjoy it that much more.
I enjoy it that much more. I think, I enjoy that much more. I still have a lot to learn, a lot to grow, so that it's always going to get better. I don't think that's going to get bad. I'm still learning a lot, especially what you guys got to see like a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like, that's only the beginning. Like, everything even before that was like non-existent compared to like the type of training that I've been doing. So I'm really excited. So I'm like, Muay Thai is a lot more than just punch, kicks, and elbows, and that's all the striking. It's
you're
a
just
mind
so
game. It's
infatuated by it right now.
Yeah.
You just want to focus on it 100%.
Yeah. Like, there's guys like, think about like Michael Venom Page, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, before he fought like Paul Daly. I'm sure that guy trains a lot of grappling as well. And it shows, like, if he gets in positions, like, he's knocked out guys from weird positions. But when people watch him fight, they want to see, like, they trust in his stand-up. They're like, oh, this guy's going to do some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to be able to do the same thing. Not crazy, like, whirly stuff, but when people watch me fight, they know what to expect. And that's just, like, bulletproof striking,
Yeah, that fight was very unexpected. The way Paul Daly decided to take him down, I was pretty stunned.
Yeah.
I didn't think we were going to see that. I mean, Paul Daly's so dangerous. His fucking left hook is one of the best in all of the business. His left hand, period. Any way he throws it.
Both of them knew what they were going up against, though. Like,
Yep.
even behind the shit talk, they knew, like,
Yeah.
it was a tough fight for both of them.
It was, but it was interesting to me watching Page use his distance and that crazy karate point style, and that, he had to really look out for that stuff. I mean, he had to make sure that he wasn't getting dinged by that stuff.
Yeah.
When he's coming in with because Venom throws all this wild stuff, almost like a fencer, like dives in on you and pops you, and you could tell Paul Daly was like really having a hard time like finding that range.
Yeah, it's hard to fight against guys that are long and know how to use their body, like, athletically.
Is he fighting Douglas Lima next? Is that what's happening over in Bellator?
I remember seeing that Douglas Lima had a fight, but I don't remember who the opponent was.
Who's Michael Venom Page fighting? Find out that. He's spectacular, though, man. That
right.
knee that he landed on Cyborg was holy shit. He caved the man's head in.
Skull.
We've never seen that. I've never seen that.
The X-rays were just...
It's insane. Like he got hit with a meteor.
Imagine the pain.
Imagine, man. And he was saying, I'll be
Headaches
fighting
are
again
bad.
in 4 months. He's like, I'll be fighting again in 4 months. And they were like, bro.
Yeah.
What's
I met
not?
that guy in Brazil.
It's a tough, man.
Yeah, he's tough. He's been around, man.
That's why when you see a guy like that cover his face and then fall down like that.
Oh, it is.
Chandler versus Pitbull. Lima versus MVP. That's it. Douglas Lima's no joke.
May 11th.
He's no joke. That's a dangerous man, Lima.
I'm tuning in.
He's a fucking enormous welterweight, too. Lima.
Is he?
He's
I've never seen him in person.
He's a big frame
Really?
fella for 170. Like, woo! Cuts a lot of weight, but he's so powerful when he gets in there. Dangerous fucking striker. He's for real. That, to me, is as interesting, if not more interesting, than the Paul Daly fight. I want to see what happens.
Yeah. Because Lima's a little different, man. Like, he's not gonna trash talk a lot. Like, he knows he's a dangerous guy.
Yeah.
So does Michael. It's gonna be a good one.
It's a real good one.
In for sure.
Yeah. Well, fights like that really legitimize Bellator, because these are fights that they could easily be a main event in the UFC, talent wise. Unquestionably. That fight, whew. Venom Page he's a real fucking hard pill to swallow, man. Figure that guy out. Who the fuck can you bring in a train that can move like him?
No one. You can try, but you're not. He doesn't even know how he's gonna move. You know, I think that guy just puts on music and just whatever happens.
Yeah, that's why this fight is so interesting, because Lima is like way more like has just a rock solid traditional stance. You know, he moves real well, devastating power. That's going to be a really good fight.
Where does Lima train? Do you know?
It's a good question. Where's Douglas Lima train? Jamie's going to find that out for us.
Yeah,
I'm very happy that there's a bunch of good organizations like One, and like the PFL now and Bellator. It's great that fighters have options.
super good. Yeah, and just a lot of times too, like I like to just watch whatever's going on. You never know who you're going to come across. Where is that?
Where is that?
American Top Team somewhere.
Is it?
Yeah,
Dude, that's terrifying. Nasty combinations, man. He's got ruthless leg kicks too, man. ATT where? Which one? There's a bunch of those, right? There's a bunch of American Top Teams. He might be ATT Florida. I don't know. Is he?
It didn't look like the Florida one, but ATT.
How many ATTs are there?
Oh, I have no idea.
Is there a bunch? I should know that.
I think I've only heard of maybe
in,
2 or 3.
Phuket Fight Club in, I guess, Thailand.
Oh, really?
In this
Phuket
article right
Fight
here
Club.
that just came out yesterday.
Phuket Fight Club.
Maybe saw your fight. It's like, fuck it. I'm going to Thailand too.
Bring everybody. Everybody come. Joe, when you coming?
A Phuket Fight Club, huh? Wow.
It just says he's been a lot of places recently for this fight.
Says, honestly, nowadays my life is a camp, Lima stated. It's been like 6 or 7 months and I haven't stopped trying to improve. For me, this is a lifestyle. Yeah, it's the only thing that really bothers me, is that it's difficult to get a champion to fight a champion. Like a champion from the UFC to fight a champion from One, or to fight a champion.
What's up with that?
Yeah. I think that would be good for everybody.
That'd be so sick.
Yeah. It'd be good for, we should find out who's running shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Find out how to make that happen. Or
Yeah.
how also how UFC fighters can do like Muay Thai fights on the side.
Sure.
I would love that.
That would be hard for them to do, though, because you'd have to justify it. Like, what if they got hurt and they couldn't fight in a card, and then the UFC like loses an asset? You know, they would think of it in terms of like a possible main event, like player.
Yeah.
Like if there's a guy who's top of the food chain dude, and he says, I want to take one Muay Thai fight, and then he tears his MCL, and then 6 months later, still not ready to fight. But
They should do it like if you're not if you're in the top 15, you can't do it.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Right,
But if you're
ranked.
not if you're not even ranked, then
Go ahead, go crazy.
Yeah,
Do
because
Muay
it's
Thai.
going to be a while before.
They'll let you do a jiu-jitsu tournament, though, right?
Jiu-jitsu's fine.
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu's fine.
That's fucking
but-
dangerous, too, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can go against a guy like Paul Harris. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Remember
but I
Schaub
think it'd be
did
cool,
that.
man.
Schaub fought the other cyborg.
Which one?
Brazil, Ricardo Abreu.
Oh, that guy.
That guy.
Yeah,
beast.
he was one of my jiu-jitsu trainers at Vanderlei. Yeah.
He's a beast.
Yeah.
He's a big man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Schaub just
Ricardo
basically kept him away. Just pushed him away from him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't
Wait.
want to get his legs ripped apart.
I think I remember that. That might have been the time where Schaub was over at Black House. I think he was gonna go do that.
Well, his point of view was like, look, I have to fight. He goes, I'm not going to get my leg torn apart. Take me down. Do something. You're not even doing anything.
It's not worth it.
And then
man.
later, he did sit in his guard, but he couldn't do anything to him. It was mostly defensive. He basically shut his jiu-jitsu down, though. I mean, that he really did do that. If you really stop and think about it. I mean, Cyborg wanted to do something to him. He stalled him out. It's not a fun thing to watch, and it's not good if you are Cyborg.
Yeah.
But if a guy could stall you out, like that's a weird, in a grappling situation, that's a weird situation. Someone just defenses you, just pushes you off, never attacks, just keeps pushing you off.
Yeah, what do you do?
What do you do? Yeah. I mean, and how much of your jiu-jitsu is based on someone that's willing to engage? That's a problem with you
It's
see
a big problem.
when guys go to the ground. Oftentimes, you'll see them almost not even securing a position, just thinking this position will maintain this way because it is in training all the time. Because guys are just lying on top of you and you're in your guard.
Yeah.
Instead of just jumping out of your guard, going knee to belly and smashing you in the face.
Exactly.
You think you can catch a little break because you do all the time in training. You really see that with jiu-jitsu players sometimes. You know, they forget they have to hold on, like especially guys that are used to training with the gi. and then they're in an MMA fight, and the guy's on top of them, and they think they're trying to set up an armbar or something like that, and that people are just like, nope, I'm just going to get out of here.
Just chilling.
Yeah. I'm going to get out of the spot.
Do you still train in gi?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
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 Where do you train?
Jean-Jacques Machado's.
Okay.
Yeah. The last time I did it was 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. It might have even been more. Me and Russell Peters.
Okay.
We've done it a couple of times. We did it in Malibu, too. He's a good dude, man. Jean-Jacques Machado's awesome.
Yeah, I heard good things about him.
He's awesome. Couldn't be a nicer person. And just really, really technical. Really good at breaking things down. Really good at explaining things.
The big gym?
It's a good size,
Yeah.
you know. He'll get like 60 people there in a noon class sometimes, so
That's
it gets
awesome.
packed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it in the heart of the city or what?
No, it's in Tarzana.
Oh, Tarzana.
Yeah. There's a bunch of Machado gyms still, though, I think. I think they have one in Redondo. Hey, it's me and Russell. Yeah. But he's just got just perfect basics, perfect advance. I mean, everything he does, he's always in the perfect position. His defense is always like when you roll with a guy like that, it's like, wow, there's so many levels to this thing.
Yeah.
Like it just lets you know, like there's just level after level. He's never in danger ever. Never. He's always laughing. Oh, Joe Hogan.
Joe Hogan.
Joe Hogan, you're trying to
Reminds
get
me
them
of
out, Joe
Hanato,
Hogan.
right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You talk to that guy?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Hassan?
Yeah, he seems pretty cool.
He's hilarious, man. That character is one of the most weird, obscure. Like, think about it, that it's a character that he developed that's a fake Brazilian multiple-time world champion. But the dude who plays it is he's legit.
He's a normal guy, right?
With Hassan. He's one of Eddie's black belts. I think he got his black belt. I'm pretty sure he did. He's a really good grappler, man.
Really?
Yeah, but he pretends to be this guy, Hanato Laranja.
Yeah. I remember I met him one time at EBI and he wouldn't come out of character.
Yeah, that was him. He fucking gave me a hard time about James Brown or something, I think. I forgot what it was. Oh, weed.
Smoking weed.
But he's my friend. I've been friends with him for a long time. He's a great guy in real life. That's
cool.
That's a character.
Yeah.
He's so committed to this character. He's been doing this character for like 10 fucking years, man.
Does he do it just like in public?
Oh, he'll fuck around with you in public. He'll bust out the character. He's always on.
It's got to be fun though. You got to have a character.
Yeah, but some people got really mad at him though. Like Nate Diaz got legitimately mad at him.
Was that at the booth?
Yes.
It's like the OTM booth?
Yeah, something
Okay.
like that.
Yeah.
Something happened.
I think I saw the video.
Nate was like, "Get the fuck out of here, bitch!" And he was like, hey, I'm just fucking around. This is what in the hell, bro?
Is that his IG right there?
Yeah.
You have to turn it away because of the girl's butt.
Well, not necessarily, but he does have a couple.
Got a lot of butts on there.
Things
His
on
character is always hilarious. His character hates child support and is always attracted to butts. It's
Ciao support.
I mean, it's a crazy character, man. It seems like something that someone would have on a television show or something. You know? And it's ours. It's only for, only MMA people and Jiu Jitsu people know about it.
Exactly. Once you get it, you go try to hit the streets with that joke. They'll be like, "What are you saying?"
I'm almost positive he's a black belt. He's a very legit martial artist.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, his dad was a karate instructor, too. He's a bad motherfucker. He's a real martial artist. It's fun. That character is just so funny.
Yeah. I got to meet him.
We can arrange that.
That'd
sure.
be cool as shit.
So what is next for you after this past fight? What do they do? Do they give you some time to recover and then hit you with some options? Does your management contact the UFC? How does it work?
Yeah, it could be management contacting them or just UFC reaching out just to see when I'll be ready. But since the fight, I just took a little bit of time off to see the family. It's been a while since I've seen them.
Did they ever offer you a short notice fight?
I've gotten offered a short notice fight before. I got offered that a long time ago. I got offered that Gustafsson fight. It was a long shot. Didn't think I was gonna get it, but I was down. I was like, yeah, I'll take it. And it was I think 10 days notice, 7 days notice at the one in LA.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't happen. And then I offered to be the replacement for the fight in Sao Paulo that Eric Anders stepped in for. But
against Thiago?
It was either going to be against him or Manuel. Who was supposed to fight first? Thiago? He was someone pulled out of that card.
I'm not sure.
Out of that fight.
I don't remember.
Someone pulled out of it, and then they offered me since I was already in Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they needed a Brazilian to fill the card, so I couldn't do it. So, yeah, there's been times that I've been willing to step in short notice. But for now, I'm like, if what I've learned in 4 months has been able to get me this far in a lot, like in my last fight, then I'm going to go back and just get back to training so I can be ready when they call me again.
So what do you anticipate? How many times would you like to fight a year?
I want to fight at least 2 more times this year. Yeah. So I've got to learn what works for me just based off the time put into this camp and kind of this new system that I can start to develop. So now just get back, start training it, and then get into a fight camp. So,
and like typically, what do you like? Do you like 8 weeks, 12 weeks? Like what do you need to prepare?
I think 8 weeks is perfect. Yeah, 8 weeks is perfect. I'll take 6 weeks. 4 weeks feels kind of like like everything's kind of got to be rushed. But yeah, I think 6 to 8 weeks is perfect.
And what are you doing for recovery while you're out there? Are you doing Thai massage? You doing any cryotherapy?
Dude, Thai massages are so cheap.
Yeah.
Like you can get a 2-hour Thai massage for yourself. You can get a 2-hour Thai massage for maybe like $10.
Wow.
2 hours, full body, like
That's
Thai
incredible.
massage with elbows and feet, everything. They
That's
can just
incredible.
feel amazing. And then they do the ice baths, but they put like big blocks of ice. They don't put bags. So there's a bunch of just ice baths and massages. That's it. Stretching. But I really want to do something down there, like save some money and maybe get like a recovery place going.
Like what kind of recovery place?
I want to bring something down there. I wasn't going to give out this idea, but whatever, who cares? I think because there's so much stuff down there, gyms, CrossFit, restaurants, all that stuff. I think the only thing it's lacking is a proper recovery, cryo, cold plunge, hot tub, no massage, just like speedy recovery. You've been in the cryo, right? Like,
yeah.
Man, you can go after a hard session and go cryo and go take a nap and you'll feel pretty good.
Yeah.
But the
you
ice
feel
bath,
really good just getting out of it. Do you feel the same way from ice baths?
Cold plunge, yeah. Like
Yeah.
the one at the PI, that one's freezing cold. I do a couple minutes in there. And the ice bath, so in Thailand, because the bricks are so big, it takes a long time to really like fill up and stuff, so they don't get as cold. So I think I would love to help out, like help that little community and just get something really good in there for just recovery and have, maybe some type of smoothies or something to help boost everything up, get the system running again so that we can train multiple times a day.
Now, do you do anything to monitor your heart rate or heart rate variability to see if you're overtrained or undertrained, see how you're feeling?
Yeah, not as much as we did here at the UFC PI, but I do have a heart rate monitor. And for this fight camp, I use it only to make sure that I can get my weight down because I got up to like 235 and I did this like VO2 max test and I did all this stuff. And this clinic down there helped me to just understand when my body's burning fat, so where to keep my heart rate and how to monitor like when I'm actually working hard enough to lose the weight, and it worked, so it was good.
It's such a different world now with all these scientific inventions, and different ways that they can make sure that your body's in a good space. It's not guesswork anymore. They can make sure you're not overtrained or
100%
fighting something off.
The same time I was doing VO2 max, they had a EKG going on, everything. So I'm like running there, making sure my heart's pumping, my like lungs are functioning, everything all in sync. And they gave me this whole big printout of everything, and everything seemed to be working perfectly. So they were just like, okay, well, in order to lose this much weight by this much, this is where you need to be at. And when your body's at the highest fat burning stage is when your body's at, or when your heart rate's at like 178 for me, it was 178 ppms. And so I did my best to push there, and I at least know when I'm there, I'm burning the most fat. So I'll try to get there as much as possible.
Are you going to try to not do that again as far as like get that heavy?
Oh, 100%.
Before a fight?
Yeah, 100%. But getting that heavy too was like, I had lost the Johnny Walker fight, got to Thailand, food, sugar, like all this stuff. So I was just kind of like, I don't know when I'm fighting again. So, but now I'm ready to be active. That was a big part of my decision to go there too, and stay there a year, is I want to be active this year. Two fights, but training.
Where do they have you ranked now?
I don't think I am.
You don't think you're ranked even top 15?
No, definitely not.
What do you think you should do in terms of the next level of fighter you face? Like, what kind of guy would you like to fight?
Man, that's crazy. I don't even ask myself those questions.
What do? You just wait for the call?
Yeah. I usually I wait for the call, and whoever they usually offer two. They have like two options.
Really?
Yeah. Like,
how do you choose?
Usually they offer like the last time it was, okay, there's Eric Anders, or there's a guy like I didn't even know his name. Like, this guy is going to be new coming into the UFC, and Eric Anders is like coming off a loss, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, well, sucks. I know Eric, all this stuff, but I'd rather fight Eric because I've already lost 3 times to guys who are making their UFC debuts, and it's just not good for me. You know what I mean? Like, obviously they're tough, they're hungry, they're trying to get into the UFC. It's going to be a really tough fight. And so that's kind of how I made the decision the last one. I was like, I don't want to take the risk of losing another fight to a guy who is making his debut, because 3 times was enough for me.
That's refreshingly honest.
Yeah.
That's what. Yeah, I mean, it's like we were talking about earlier about boxers having managers that have a strategy to keep them undefeated as long as possible, give them tests, and have them decide like when's the right time to take this fight, what's the right thing to do. And as a professional, how much of an advantage is it to know what a guy does and know who he is, have seen him fight a bunch of times, been around him?
Yeah, just for instance, like I fought Gokhan Saki, and then they offered me Johnny Walker. And so like Johnny Walker was coming off Contender Series, but still nobody knew, like not even we knew. We saw his highlights, but we're like, well, like this, look at the competition that he's faced.
Right.
You know, so we didn't really get to see much of what he was capable of. So I'm like, okay, if that's all you got, then I'll take the fight. But then here comes Johnny Walker, this like raging beast, you know what I mean? Like, the guy's huge. So, yeah, it was weird. Like, so I went from beating Gokhan Saki to losing Johnny Walker. Thank God Johnny Walker has been as good as he has and has made a name for himself. But still, like, yeah, I just didn't want to be like a foot in, or what do they call it? Like a
journeyman?
Yeah, not a journeyman, but like when they say like you're trying to get like your foot in the door or something like that. Like
a foot in the door guy.
Someone said it on Instagram. I saw it like a few times, but yeah, I just didn't want to like just be another guy that, you know, could possibly give somebody their shot into the UFC. I was like, let me fight a guy that's in the UFC this time.
Well, so now that you did and you had the fight with Eric Anders and you have this spectacular result, and now, you know, people are recognizing that you've made some big improvement. Like, what caliber of fighter? Like, who do you think would propel your career? Like, what would be the best next step?
I mean, definitely, I think it's time for me to break somewhere into the top 15. You know, for sure. Nowhere in the guys that are at the very top, because
they're all kind of tied up.
They're all pretty tied up, you know, and I definitely think it'll be a while before I can actually fight Jones. Because just of like how things are laid out. Like, I know for sure Johnny Walker's ranked, and he's already kind of like in talks, like he's the guy to beat John Jones. So I'm sure they're going to try to set that up, right? And then there's like kind of this set of guys in the middle.
Did Johnny Walker fuck his shoulder up when he was doing that worm thing?
Supposedly, but I think he's fine. Because I've had people call me and like, hey, I just see this Johnny Walker guy down like on the street every day. I guess he's back in Thailand now.
So he did that flop around thing, and then when he got up, he couldn't move his shoulder.
Yeah,
so
dislocated
it was like dislocated or something like that.
I think that's what happened.
That's so insane.
Were you?
Yes, I was commentating
after, right?
Yeah,
I think you called it out. Like,
I was like, what's going on, man?
Yeah.
He's I hope he didn't permanently injure his shoulder.
Nah, I think he might be fine.
I hope so.
Yeah, he's not walking around in a sling or anything right now, but he could have a little.
But yeah, after your fight with him, he's made quite an account of himself.
Yeah.
That last fight with that flying knee was insane.
Yeah. So I'm sure before I get to the top, I'd have to fight him again, right?
What's up, Jim? Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah.
He is currently recuperating from shoulder surgery after dislocating it.
Shoulder surgery.
Dude. Shoulder surgery.
That's never
he
good.
fucked up. That's crazy.
I've never known anybody to have shoulder surgery and come back like with a fully.
Andre Ward did.
Did
Andre
he?
Ward had shoulder surgery and came back better than ever.
It says
But he's also got the best doctors.
Sure, took a long
away.
time.
2 months from a comeback is what he says. He hopes to fight the winner.
2 months.
Gustafsson, Anthony Smith.
He better take his time. He doesn't want to fuck his shoulder up forever. You know, if it rips again. That's a great fight. Anthony Smith and Gustafsson, that's a great fight. And, you know, Anthony Smith, he really held his own. Like, he made a good account of himself in that fight. He didn't win the fight, but, you know, he showed everybody how technical he is, especially in that first round.
Yeah, for sure.
Real good and sharp. John's just better. John's just better. You know, I mean, for now, he just has his number. I mean, in the John Jones that you're seeing now is a John Jones that sort of has, like, a real goal in mind. Like he's had it taken away from him, and they gave it back to him, and now he knows he has it, and he's capitalizing on it.
It seems like it. It's just like he knows what it's like to be the best, but not be able to really like do anything about it, right? For a long amount of time.
Yeah.
And so I think it's pretty cool to be able to see this version of him and to be active around this time. Maybe, you know, maybe I'll get a shot, or maybe he'll still be around at the top, like whenever I get my shot, depending on how it goes.
If you had a timeline in your head of when you think you'd be ready to challenge for a title, when do you think it would be?
I can give it another year. Yeah. I think I can get one more year and a half of good solid fights in to really solidify myself in the UFC and just put in the work and everything that it takes to really embody what I think it would be like, what I think it would take to be a champion, a successful champion, not just like get the belt and lose it, you know, like get the belt and then just be a champion for, you know, a couple months. Like, no, to actually be a champion and hold it down, I think a little over a year.
Well, it's an unbelievably talent-rich weight class, right? Because Cormier's still kind of in it.
Mm-hmm.
John Jones is the champion. You know, he just got off the Anthony Smith fight. Anthony Smith, Gustafsson's still a beast. But no one is, like, really standing out as being, like, this person that everybody wants to see challenge for the title. You've got worthy challengers. They're good fights. But there's no one that you're seeing them, except Cormier was the only one.
Yeah.
Where you're seeing him versus John, you're like, woo, what the fuck is going to happen here?
Mm-hmm.
What's going to happen here? And that's what the division needs, I think.
Yeah,
you know?
Definitely. And that's something that I can also see, and that's something that I also want to do for myself. I want to be the best version, and I'm starting to find out what that's like, especially like the happy, like being able to do what I want to do and strike how I want to strike and stuff. So now, like, let's get some fights in there to mix it up, and really like test that, like test if it works, test if that's really going to be able to sustain in what it takes to get there. You know what I mean? Like, I'm willing to test it. Like, if they want to put me up against the best grappler in the world and think that I'll have no chance on the ground, okay, cool. Or if they want to put me against, well, they already did. They thought I wouldn't stand a chance against Gokhan Saki. And, like, I was very happy for that because, like, I'm like, okay, cool. I get to test the best of my abilities, like, against a legend.
Yeah.
I didn't, like, I knew that I had everything it took to beat him, but I didn't think, like, he's going to destroy me. No, never. Like, so I want to continue to be tested.
It's interesting, your approach, because I wonder if the fact that you were such a non-confrontational guy and you are really easygoing helps you in that you have, like, less conflict in your head. I almost wonder, because even the way you approach, like, these different matchups and everything, you kind of put your ego aside. You're looking at what is the smart thing to do here? The smart thing to do is not take this fight against this newcomer guy. I've already lost to newcomer guys. The smart thing is, okay, we realized that Thailand was extremely beneficial. Let's fucking move to Thailand. So you're doing all these, like, really, really smart moves where, you know, you're looking at it very logically, but you have confidence in yourself, but you're not like a braggy guy. You know, you're getting everything done with your work. You know, you're getting everything done with your results. It's interesting to see, man, because you want to see as many different kinds of fighters as possible, and you're like a new kind of thing.
That's the most important thing, though, man. Like, I don't really tune into much UFC and like what's going on because of that reason.
Right.
I don't care about what people have to say in this. I don't watch fighting to hear what people have to say. You know, like I didn't fight. Like it's not about talking. It's about fighting.
Right.
And the only thing that I can prove and have to prove is what I can do with my skills. That's it. You know, so like if they put me against any type of other fighter, like let's go back to the roots of mixed martial arts. Let's go back to the roots of UFC, like when guys weren't even the same size and they were just matching up different martial arts. Like,
You'd be down for that?
I mean, I'd consider it, and if it had to happen now, like yeah, I'd definitely think about it, and I'd probably lean more towards doing it than saying no.
Do you have guys trash talk you?
Like
You're a pretty easygoing guy.
easygoing. It's nothing to my face. It's always subtle. If I ever hear about anybody saying something, it's just through word of mouth, and I'm just like, yeah, well.
But you never had like a Conor McGregor type incident where a fighter's...
Only in the beginning with Paul Craig, but
Oh yeah.
I think it was just like his thing. We smashed that beef, you know.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, but
What do you think about trash talking in this day and age? Because in many ways, look, Conor's an amazing fighter, and his fighting skills, what's made him such an international superstar. But he also talks some mad shit, and that helped him too, because he was so good at it. It was funny. He would say funny, mean, insulting shit. It was fucking great.
100%.
Yeah.
But I think what people forget, Joe, is that like that's always been Conor. Even when you go and look at the interviews from before he was in the UFC, and he was just like, I'm going to make a bunch of money, and I'm going to be all this, and so like he created that for himself. Yeah. And yeah, he made a bunch of money from talking trash because he always had a plan that's what he was going to do.
Yeah.
And so I think people try to hop on it just to sell tickets or get money. And sometimes it works. It gets people wanting to watch, and it gets your name up and stuff like that. But that's not the type of name I want to make for myself. Like, I don't like people talking trash to me, so I'm not really going to talk trash to anybody unless there's something that's really personal. But if I don't know you and I don't care about you, then I don't really consider it. Like, why would I talk trash? I don't even care about you. It's a waste of energy. Right. It's a waste of, there's like, I got so much other stuff to care about, or I don't know.
Yeah, it's a very healthy look, man. I mean, to the way you're seeing.
I like
that
you said healthy. Like I'd like to maintain a healthy heart and mind as much as possible. Dude, man, like mental health is a real thing. Like,
it is.
You know what I mean? And especially just having certain obligations and just using social media and having people reach out, and they say like, oh, ignore this, ignore that. But it's like, man, like it's hard to just ignore certain things, you know, like you still see things. And so just that, and condition of the world, and just everything, man, being in multiple different countries and hearing this news and that news and blah, 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 blah. Like for a person who wants to care about the world or just genuinely cares, like a lot can go on in my mind. So I'm just like, I don't even want that in my heart, man. I'm just going to do my best to kind of keep my own peace, and come fight time, I'll let it loose.
Dude, I like the way you're living, man. You got a great approach.
I just want to be happy,
cool.
man. That's
I
it.
appreciate
like,
that.
Happiness is important. It is, man.
It's a great message too, man. And to have it come from you, a guy, I love those kind of stories where a guy's life was all fucked up and you figured it out, man, and you put it together.
Man, tell me, like, nothing feels better than just like being fucking happy.
Yeah.
Right? Like when you're okay with your life, when you're okay with your heart and your integrity, when you just feel like, you know what, I haven't done anything wrong.
Yeah.
I'm okay. Like, life is happening the way it is, and I don't have to think about, did I fuck this person over? Did I do this? Like, no, everything is okay.
Yeah.
So why welcome anything else? Like, no, man. Clear mind, clear heart.
It's a rare thing. It's a rare feat to achieve balance.
And balance is hard to maintain. So it's like, it takes a little bit of fighting. It takes meditation. It takes anger. It takes, like, yin and yang is the most beautiful thing ever, man. Like, that is life. That is life.
It really is.
The opposite, the balance of opposites, the constant flow. Like, that's why I love just reading, like, the Tao Te Ching and, like, just, like, Kundalini yoga, like, all the, like, cool, like, spiritual stuff. I'm like, yeah, man, this is it. Like, it just helps me to just kind of reach for this, like, this peace, this light. That's awesome.
Do you see the contradiction in reaching for that peace and light while you're smashing people?
Yes, and that's life.
That is life.
That's life, man.
Yeah.
That's life, you know, like, to, like, a battery, right? In order for it to give its power, like, it's got to have the negative and positive, like, energies flowing through it. And it's just, like, I feel like a lot of the times people are too focused on one side, like, too much negative or too much positive, and you need a good amount of both in order for, like, that energy to spark. So
well said. You're a wise man. I appreciate you, man, and thanks for coming on the show. And I can't wait to do commentary for one of your fights again, man.
Can't wait to have you there.
It was
again.
really fun,
Motivation.
man. We had a good fucking time.
Hell
it was
yeah.
great. Thank you.
Thank you,
Respect. Oh, that was great, man. You were terrific.